their arguments. I have never attacked someone for their political beliefs, but however, I have called out people who try to deceive us and make us believe everything is fine when it is clearly not. Please, go ahead, call me out if I said one thing about these spaces and then did the opposite. I've maintained this is a political environment, and when I began this space 3 weeks ago on the 2023 elections conversations, I have stated, even if I'm the only one in the room, I will continue to host and speak every Saturday, because Nigeria is all we have, and we have a right to demand that it works for all of us, not just for the children of the elites, the rich, or the political heads. And to the pro-government account, who have blocked 4,000 of you and more for repeatedly throwing vile words at me, insults for asking for a better country. If you have lost your conscience to the crumbs that you will eat, refusing a better future for your children, don't worry. We will keep demanding for a better country for your own children and grandkids, so they don't have the kind of today that you have, so they can live in a country that they can be proud of. So after this, if you have any issues with me, I'm in my house. You're welcome to my space. Again, thank you, Hakim, for joining as my co-host. Tonight, it's going to really be a heated conversation. I'm having a female aspirant, come on the space. And I'd like to see if she's here. I don't know. She's not here yet. And she's aspiring for the Senate seat in Ogun State, I guess. Her name is Princess. I mean, I don't want to do the introduction for her before people say I'm endorsing a candidate. So I'd like her to come and do the introduction by herself. Welcome, Hakim. I'd like my co-host to also come up as well. That's the first part of the conversation we need to have about women's spaces in Nigerian politics. And the second part of the conversation as well will be linked to the first, which will be having the former Senate President of the country, Senator Bukola Saraki. And the third conversation would be about Nigerian political parties, if they are really for the people. Because, everything that is going on is just a mirage. We are walking right into our own, I don't know what we call it. We have been stuck between tossing a coin and then not knowing which one is going to come out. So are Nigerian political parties really for the people? Both the current ones, both the ones who are planning to create and all of that. Are they really for the people, or they are for themselves? Because it's time that we have these conversations. Welcome, Aki. The mic is yours.
Thank you, Rinu. Kindly confirm if my audio is audible. Rinu, can you hear me? Okay, great. All right, great. Thank you. Brilliant introduction there. I think no one should doubt your commitment and courage. Again, just to remind everyone in the room, many of us, again, including Renu, are what you call accidental activists. Nobody woke up checking off a box and saying we want to wake up and fight for good governance or get rid of the ills that plague our society as active citizens. I urge everyone, if you're in the audience, it's very difficult speaking truth to power. It's very inconveniencing to speak to people that may be loved ones, neighbors, church members on many of the things that plague this country. But you need to do this in your best interest. We owe the future generation a country we can leave behind that we can all be proud of. So again, as you come on stage, as you listen in, as you tweet, be objective. Again, let's listen to understand, not listen to react or be triggered. Again, if you're coming up on stage as a speaker, we make sure that we speak, in a very respectful manner. No division, no derogatory, reference to anyone based on, sex, religion, ethnic orientation, or perhaps tribe. I think this would be a forum where we can have very well-meaning conversations. And as we walk away, we can ask ourselves, are we true? platform that people come and would not again use it as an opportunity to perhaps paint a false impression of what we truly know about this country. So again, Rinu, thanks for this space. Looking forward to hosting many more. And I think, as you've mentioned earlier, no one doubts your intentions. And please, if you're among the brown paper bag crowd, Renu is not being paid to promote anyone. This is not a rented space. Let me repeat that. And I think as we come in, we have these conversations, keep an open mind and walk away with any types of, opinions you wish, but please, let's not convert this into a accusatory, opportunity. So again, Renu, back to you. Glad to hear from the young APC voices, the young PDP voices, as well as the other smaller party voices, and equally the topic on women's issues and how we improve participation is definitely something I'm looking forward to. Thanks again, Renu.
Yeah, thank you very much, Aki, for that. Now I have Princess here, and I think that you can make the introduction.
Renu, over to you.
Yes, I can hear you.
Renu, can you hear me? I don't know if we lost you there.
Yes,
Your
I can hear
audio
you.
is mute. Madam Aisha, welcome. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me? I can hear you.
Hello.
And I can hear you there.
Yes. Can you hear me, Madam Aisha? I don't know if Renu's audio is having issues.
Yes, I can.
Okay, Renu. Okay, great. Okay. Yeah, Renu will come back shortly. FSG, welcome. Again, we'll have Dawisu, Salihu Tanko Yakasai, a prominent APC member. We'll probably have Onoja Ilemona, a PDP member. Again, we will not muzzle free speech, but I think the goal of this space is to focus on the 2023 elections. Welcome, Princess Olatorera Majakudumi Oniru. I hope I said your name very well. Lovely gele in the display picture, by the way. Let's see. Renu, I don't know if you want to drop me a DM
can you hear me?
Channel. I don't know if we can kick off, but again,
yes, I can hear Renu.
I don't know why
you can hear Renu. Oh wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, I can hear Renu. We can hear you.
So,
yes.
Okay. Renu, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think that King is still battling with the after effect of the VPN. Please confirm, Princess, can you hear me again?
Hello. Good morning. Good evening. I can hear you.
All right, I was starting to get afraid regarding the network.
Yeah, I can't hear Renu, but go ahead. If everyone else can hear her, let me not.
Aki, I'm going to drop you, so please come back. Princess, hi, please introduce yourself, just so we can get right to the conversation.
Sure. Good evening, everyone. Great to be on Renu Spaces this evening. My name is Princess Olatora Majakudumi Oniru. I am running for Senate representing Ogun Central Senatorial District, OMO Ogun, OMO Egba. It gives me joy to see Nigeria progress. I have been in politics for several years. I'm running under the All Progressives Congress Party.
All right, welcome, Princess. I know we've had a lot of back and forth with your team when they start reaching out that, you wanted to come to, introduce yourself on this space. Like I asked, I think 2 weeks ago, that candidates, in political parties, especially young candidates that want to contest, they can send me a mail. And I'm glad that your team did. You made mention that you've been in politics for several years. I mean, what are the things that you've done? You've had any political post or anything?
I have been consulting with government across different states in Nigeria and outside of Nigeria. I have worked for Governor Sanwo-Olu's Transition Committee 2019. I also worked with Dr. Cardoso on rebuilding Lagos after the EndSARS. I have a very solid passion for development in Nigeria. I have consulted on policies. I have consulted on percent. There is no one in the Senate currently, and where has that gotten us to?
So if I heard you correctly, the reason why you are running for Senate is because there's a
lack of youth and women representation in the Nigerian Senate. And we need to enact policies that will progress us all, policies that will transcend the entire nation and take our citizens forward. We've been living in a country with the highest potential to be one of the greatest countries in the world, yet we are sitting on 85+% poverty. We don't need that. Yet we have some of the brainiest, most intelligent people in Nigeria. We have our citizens in London, in Switzerland, in the US, all over the world doing great things. You have Nigerians leading some of the world's heaviest initiatives. And we have 200 million people here, and 80% of them are living in poverty. The leaders we've had over the past 20 years plus have not delivered the national development that Nigerian citizens that we all require and need today.
So Princess, a short one. What makes you think you're capable for that role? What makes you think that people in Ogun State should vote you instead of other people? What makes you think you're capable? Madam Aisha, can you hear me? I'm not sure Princess can hear me any longer. Sashude, can you hear me? Oh, well, network.
Yes, I can hear you.
Please let me know if you can hear me so we don't just bother the audience. I guess Princess had some issues with her network. Please, if you have any questions for Princess Olatorera Majekodunmi, a candidate running for the Ogun Central Senatorial District under the party APC. If you have any questions for her, please request the mic. I'm happy to give you the mic for the next 10 minutes so you can ask her your questions. Nigeria Best, go ahead.
Thank you, Rinu. Prince, I don't know if can the princess hear me clearly?
I think she's connecting. I'm seeing her this thing connecting. So she probably, okay, she says, she's still trying to connect, I think, network issues.
Can you hear me now, princess?
I'm not sure Princess is here. Please go ahead and ask your question.
Well, the question I have for Princess is, she's talked about her concern for development and poverty alleviation. But it was under this APC government that Nigeria became the poverty capital of the world. We've had 2 record recessions, record unemployment, and record inflation. So what I want to understand from her is, first of all, how did she decide that the APC was the party to join? And secondly, what does she think of the performance of President Buhari, the leader of her party?
All right. I just noted that down because I'm just writing down questions as well. I hope that Princess is in the house and she would be able to come back to answer these questions all at once. Actually, please go ahead.
Okay, thanks, Rinu, for giving the opportunity to say something. My question for Princess is that she said her reason for going for the Senate House is because there is a zero inclusion of women, of youth, and like 3% of inclusion of women. I think that is not enough reason for enough reason. I think what is our major package for the youth in whole? What is the transformation she's bringing to Nigeria as a country by having someone like her being a youth in that Senate House? That's my question for her. Thank you.
Okay, I just noted that. MJ, want to go ahead? Please, you have 1 minute. Let this space be very fast paced. Because we really have a long way to go, and a lot of people requesting to speak. I'm not trying to gag anyone, but please, MJ.
Okay, I was going to say this kind of the same thing Yinka just said. My question is, I know she's saying she wants to represent women and she wants to represent the youth, but what does that mean to her? Like, what is she going to bring to the table if that's what she's trying to do?
Thank you, MJ. Prince, go ahead. Okay, Prince got dropped off. Deborah, you want to go ahead?
Okay, yes, thank you very much, Rinu. Okay, so Princess has spoken a lot about what she hopes to attain in areas of women representation. But for me, she is going in as a senator representing the good people of Ogun Central. And she hasn't spoken about how she hopes to represent our people. Forget about, yes, we are clamoring for women representation, we are clamoring for youth representation. But what is she going to do for the people in her constituency? I think she needs to address that because she is going to represent them first before representing the youth or even represent the women. What is she going to do for the people?
I have the same question as well.
Youth. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Deborah. Honorable, you want to go? If Honorable is not there, see the Akachuku. Okay, Honorable is back.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Rino?
Yes.
She's made mention of working with the cleanup of NSAS in Lagos. I just want her to tell us what she learned from the NSAS experience as working with the cleanup of NSAS in Lagos. Thank you.
I didn't get that question. Can you repeat it?
I want her to what's her own view of the NSAS protest and the aftermath in Lagos? What's her view on that? I think it's important she puts that on record. Thank you.
Okay, Sam Pam, you want to go ahead? Princess is back as well. Can Oluomo hear me? See, Akachuku, go ahead.
Please, thank you very much. My questions have already been pointed out by Deborah and Honorable, but I'll just like to throw more light into that. As a member of the Rebuild Nigeria, she talked about being a member of the Rebuild Lagos something. I'd really like to get her view or her position on the whole NSAS movement, on how the government, the party she's with, denied everything from the very beginning until repeatedly, coming out piece by piece to at least support some truths as they were unfolding. My second question being, with the whole inflation...
Please, would like to limit it to one question per person. And I'm not trying to gag you, Akachuku,
okay.
but
okay.
we have
no problem.
limited time. Thank you.
Sure, thank you.
Princess, are you back? Can you unmute, Princess? Is your network okay? Can you hear me?
I'm back. I can hear
Thank
you.
you. I'm sorry there was a barrage of questions, but we're trying to, make it short and fast. Did you get some of the questions?
I did.
All right. Which would you like to start with?
So I'll just go ahead, and I think some of the questions were quite similar. People want to know what I would deliver on, what I would focus on. My key focus areas are healthcare for all, highest quality mass education. We want every child in Nigeria and Ogun Central Senatorial District to have access to the highest quality education. We want Nigerian citizens to be put first, with livelihoods enhanced, and to foster a happy nation all around. We also want to infuse a development segment whereby agriculture will be utilized as a wealth builder for poverty alleviation. We should not be one of the poverty capitals of the world under any circumstance whatsoever.
All right, Princess,
I can hear you.
Just a little bit help here. You keep talking about Nigeria, right? I understand that you're going into the Senate, but then you're coming from a district, right? And I think that you need to be talking specifically about things that are about that district. I don't know if I'm making sense.
Absolutely, but you are aware that the Senate is a federal house, and so of course I listen to the district. I work within the district, but in the Senate house, the policies transcend the nation. Are you aware of that?
Please go ahead.
Right. So we want agriculture to be used as a tool for well-being to alleviate poverty. And also we want healthcare for all, and we want our national constitution strengthened.
All right. I hope that question was answered. Or someone asked. Go ahead. Please go ahead.
Yes. So someone asked about NSAS. NSAS was very heartbreaking for me, and I'm sure for many millions of Nigerian citizens. Extremely heartbreaking. We would never want a repeat of the NSAS situation, the aftermath. We want humanistic leadership in Nigeria. We want leaders who care, leaders who put citizens first.
I'm not sure I can hear Princess. Olomo, can you hear her? Please, if anyone goes off, let me know.
I can hear it, but maybe
please, if anyone goes off, just let me know, because there's just like silence in the room. I think that we have issues with Princess network. Please try to, revamp and come back. While you're trying to come back, let's take questions from other people. Toye, go ahead.
Thank you, Renu. I'm wondering, Princess keeps saying, I want. And all that she's highlighting does not communicate someone who is running with a vision. Is this a vision statement you are casting, or you are casting your heart desires, wishes, especially for the fact that she's stating roles that seems to be more of executive functions and highlighting it as if it's the primary responsibility when she becomes a senator? Is this a vision? Is this a strategic objective of the party, or something that is personal to her, what she wants as a person? I'm trying to understand if she understands the magnitude of the office she's running for and the assignment involved in that office, understanding of the roles, not that she's the governor, not that she's running an executive role, but just a legislative role. There's no policy statement, no policy direction that she has mentioned of how it's going to benefit her district or her constituency, but highlighting executive functions. Is that the job of a senator? I need to understand.
All right, thank you, Toye. I got that question. Senator, you want to go ahead? Senator is not there. Let's take Tunde and go to Bab's space. Let's keep it rolling. If any of these guys are not there, Nams, are you there?
Hello. Yeah, Renu, thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. And my question for Princess is, she made mention of using agriculture as a tool to alleviate poverty. So I would like to know how she intends to do that if she becomes a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nams. Tunde, you were saying something. Go ahead.
Yeah, good evening. My question is on Sony. I want to know what her stand. Hello?
We can hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay, I just want to know her stand concerning zoning. This current dispensation has failed, has divided Nigeria more. So I want to know if she feels that the president should honestly go to the southeast, who are feeling that they are minority, they have not never ruled.
Marginalized. Yeah, I understand that. However, I don't know if we should be asking Princess that question now. I think that we should save this kind of questions for the other two segments that are coming, right? Because then she's here to talk about our aspirations. And I don't know, I don't want to gag you, but I don't know if this is the mood of the audience. Senator Babs, go ahead. Senator Babs.
Good evening. Okay, good evening. Yeah, my question to Princess is that what strategy has she put in place to actually get the tickets, knowing the fact that constituency, that Ogun Central, the current senator there is the former governor of Ogun State, and happens to be one of the senatorial districts that has most of the political heavyweight leaders in APC. What strategy has she put in place? And because people will not vote for you because you are a youth or you are a woman, so they need what grassroots mobilization has she put in place to ensure that she gets the tickets before we now start talking about the general election? Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. Who's next? Hold on a second.
I think Shirley. Shirley can go.
Okay, Shirley, go ahead, Shirley. Yeah, go ahead, Shirley.
Hello, Princess. So I just wanted to ask, because we're all talking about what you're aspiring to do, how you want to change this, you want to see this, you want to see that. I specifically want to ask, what was the strategy you implemented during the cleanup of the NSAS? I think a candidate's, competency can be gauged against what they have asked, what they've done, and what they've implemented. So you were tasked with consulting with the Lagos State government to clean up post-NSAS. So number one, what were the strategies that you put in place? Number two, have you achieved those strategies? Number three, where are those strategies now? What have you delivered? How has that cleanup come? How far have you come? So that's what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shirley. Post strategy, the strategy rather to clean up post NSAS cartoon. I'm hoping Princess, she's trying to reconnect. So let's take Pride of a Peacock. You want to go ahead?
Yes. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for doing this again. I just wanted to ask, or more like I just want to ask, what are the issues in her constituency, or should I say, what are the issues in her districts that have actually endeared her to contest? What are the issues that have inspired her to want to change the things going on in her district? What are the issues that are bothering the people of Ogun State, particularly in that area that she wants to represent in the National Assembly?
Thank you very much, Shirley. What are the issues in our constituency that makes her want to represent? Got it. Maz Ozi, you want to go ahead? Okay, I don't know if Maz Ozi is there. Estelle, go ahead. Is Estelle there? Uluomo, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Yes,
go ahead.
Okay, Estelle, go ahead.
Go ahead, Estelle. Go ahead.
Good evening. My name is
Yeah, we can hear you. Estelle, we can hear you. Go ahead, Estelle. We can hear you. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Princess, this question. If she thinks single payer healthcare system is better or government managed healthcare. If she thinks either of them is better, please, I want her to tell us why and how it will benefit the citizens. Thank you.
So I didn't get that question, and she's trying to reconnect. She's going to answer the question. Please, can you say the question again?
Okay. If she thinks single-payer healthcare system is better or government-managed healthcare, because she keeps talking about healthcare. So I want her to tell us why she thinks single healthcare is better or why government-managed healthcare is better, and how it will
Okay, single healthcare or government managed healthcare, and how it will benefit us. Tosin, please go ahead.
Yeah, Mr. Tosin. I don't think Tosin can. Mr. Tosin, go ahead.
Okay, please go ahead.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Rinu, I must commend you for this. You're doing a great job. And to Princess, good evening, ma. I overheard you when you were making a statement. You said you're going to do this, you're going to do that. I don't know if that's the audio promise or something. I think one of the speakers have made mention of this. I was trying to fish out a point from what you said. You said you are going to do this, you're going to do that. You don't actually know. Have you been to the constituency you are going to represent? I don't know whether you live there or whether you just come from somewhere and go there. Because you want to represent the constituency, you have to stay there, know what people really need, know what they are craving for. So when you get there, when you assume the office, you'll be able to deliver. So the question is,
I got your question. How will she be able to relate to the people of our constituency, if that is correct, and if she lives there?
And also, I want to know whether all these promises aren't all you promised. That's one of the major questions.
I don't know if anyone is going to tell you if their promises are audio. Currently, I don't know if any politicians have ever said, "Oh, my promises are audio." However, we keep taking the questions. Olatunji, you want to go ahead? Olatunji is not there. Let's have Akintoye. More women need to request. Let's have more questions.
Yeah, hello.
Okay, the only thing we can
Hello,
get is
hello,
your
hello, good
voice.
evening.
Olatunji, are you there?
Yeah, hello, good evening, everyone. I hope you can hear me.
We can hear you.
Okay, good
Yes,
evening,
yes.
everyone. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak in this space. Hello? Hello? Hello, Rinu, can you hear me?
If you're coming on board, please don't say thank you for giving us an opportunity. The work is collective. If you're not here, I won't be here, and all of that. Just go straight directly to the point. And we can't hear you if there's a lot of interference. So please ensure that you're in a quiet space. Femi, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think I want to ask Princess. Maybe she can actually explain the role of a position she's going for, because we need to know precisely what she thinks the role of the Senate district is, as in the role, a major mission. She should, because when we look at it, our role is mostly all about the laws. They are the upper class of the legislative arm. What is our role? What are the challenges the districts are facing, and how can she correct it with her position?
All right, thank you very much, Femi. What are the roles and all of that? I got that for Princess. Are you back? If you're back, let me know.
I am back.
Thank you very much. There are a lot of questions. It's a barrage, but yeah, this is what you're vying for, right? Back to the question regarding the EndSARS protest in Lagos. Did you get that question?
I did. So absolutely great questions. I want to just give a few notes just in case we get disconnected again and again. I mean, of course, I'll keep trying to come back, but I want to thank everyone that's here today. I really appreciate every progressive Nigerian, what we fight for on a daily basis. We love our country. We love ourselves. We're progressive. We want change, and we are relentless. I'm very proud of the youth and what we continue to achieve. I also want to say the link to the manifesto, the Senate page is olatorera.com/Senate. You would see, just in case we get disconnected, so you would see the pledge, the, key policies that we are pushing forward and, activities that we've been doing. So to cover some of the questions that I heard over the past 5 minutes, someone asked what we've done, in the course of the campaign. We've met with citizens across all 74 wards in the entire district, across all 6 local government areas in the district. We continue to canvass the entire district, understanding the pain points, the development points, and where people want progress most. Some of these areas, like I mentioned, are healthcare, poverty alleviation. Nigerians are suffering, and we all know this, and change must come. Transportation, education it's a big one. It's a big one, because when we invest more into education, when we have policies that require the very best education, the very best quality education across our district and the nation, then we start to see that people can garner the strength they need to push their dreams, make their lives better, make the lives of their family members and people around them better. And when we start having a higher standard of living, we start to have a happier nation. We start to have enhanced livelihoods. We start to see a reduction in the poverty rate that we have today. What was the next question? So what was the answer's question?
I think it was about cleanup post NSAS. Akin, did you get that question? I mean, if I'm saying it wrongly, I don't know. Or Ulomo, did you get that question correctly? It was your role in the cleanup post NSAS. What are the strategies and what are you doing about them now? Ulomo, you want to say something? Go ahead.
No. You're right. Go ahead. You're right. Go ahead.
Right. Okay, so post NSAS, I did some consultation, reviewed the damages to the state and how we can collectively and in a unified manner, heal after the entire incident. NSAS efforts, rebuilding Lagos State after NSAS efforts are still ongoing. I think, we're trying to make sure that the state raises enough capital to rebuild parts of the assets that were damaged. But I think, the lives lost, the governor has with the consultation, and the process is ongoing. Next question, please.
Okay, if you're not talking, please mute your mic. If you're not speaking, kindly mute your mic. Princess, somebody asked a question on agriculture as a tool to alleviate poverty. How do you plan to do that? The second question I have here is, someone said you keep mentioning executive functions instead of legislative functions, which you are vying for, right? Princess is vying for Ogun Central Senatorial District for Senate under the ruling party or Progressive Congress, APC. So the person said that you are talking about executive functions rather than legislative functions.
Well, not necessarily. So I'm referring to policies that would enhance the executive functions. I'm not referring to us executing the executive functions, but enacting laws, enacting Finance Acts, Land Use Acts, reviewing the Constitution, this 1999 Constitution that many of us citizens have said is not working, it's not unifying us, it's not progressing us. We've had brain drains over the past 20 years since we had that 1999 Constitution. It needs to be reviewed. We need to enact the policies, the laws that are most progressive for Nigerians collectively. We need to enhance the great initiatives that many entrepreneurs have been doing. The technology space, the e-commerce space, the fintech space. These entrepreneurs are they should be heavily lauded. We need to appreciate what they've done. They are hiring.
Hold on, Princess. Right there. I mean, you were talking about some issues which I wanted to come in. I'm so sorry to interrupt you. But then someone asked a question that ties to what you're saying. What are the issues in your constituency that makes you want to compete?
Issues in my constituency that make me want to compete. Issues in my constituency, like I mentioned, many Nigerians are unhappy. We're not getting the health care we deserve. Someone asked, is it better for single pay healthcare or for government managed healthcare? Of course, if we had a functional government managed healthcare system, everyone will be happy. A healthcare system that subsidizes the cost of healthcare based on your income. We want to have a system whereby when people are unemployed, there are policies that allow them to still be the standard of living. But in Nigeria today, if you're unemployed, most times, there's who can tell me where we're going to turn to for government assistance when you lose a job? The stress level is very high because people have very little leverage coming from government. So of course, the pain point from my constituency, we need leadership that cares. We need humanistic leadership. We need leadership that thrives on a justice system, a fair system, altruistic policies. Leadership that cares. Leadership that put Nigerians first and foremost, above anything else.
I love that part. Hold on, Princess. I love that part about you saying leadership that put Nigerians first. But then let me take some questions.
Hello, Rinu.
Okay,
Hello, Rinu. Please, I'm sorry to interrupt. I hear Princess say to us that we need leadership that puts people first. We need humanistic leadership. But then when Princess was talking about NSAS protest, Princess was talking from the point of view of the things that were damaged to Lagos State. NSAS protest was not the reason why things were damaged in Lagos State. Things were damaged for a completely different reason. And over time, the youth of Nigeria have been gaslighted with this issue of NSAS protest and damage. If you're talking about humanistic leadership and you're coming, you've not even gotten in, you're telling us that, oh, it's about damage to the state, we are rebuilding Lagos State, and then the people whose lives were lost came in at the tail end. And even when you were speaking, your voice was down, I really couldn't hear it. So I'm wondering, what is this humanistic approach that we're talking about? The hoodlums who attacked Lagos State, first of all, were brought in by Lagos State, and they attacked the NSAS protesters, and they went on a rampage. And there was a fight between Lagos, the police, and some hoodlums before they went on that rampage. And I think late last year, that same fight came up again. So we need to separate NSAS protests and the attack on Lagos State that happened. It's very easy for people to come and tell us that, yes, they feel about NSAS, but we need to know, what are your feelings? Yeah, everybody will be heartbroken about NSAS now because they need votes. I'm coming. When I'm finished, you will answer. Right. And one of the things of being a good this thing is to be able to listen. So we need people will come here and tell you that they are heartbroken about what happened during NSAS. The first question that every Nigerian, especially the Nigerian youth, should ask for: what did you do during that time? Did you speak when it was convenient to speak, or you spoke when there was a voice that was needed, when citizens were being killed? I'm sorry, Rinu, I interrupted, but I just needed to talk about that because what is being said and what is being put out, they were not aligning. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Hold on, Princess, on that. Proud Ilori girl, go ahead. 45 seconds, please. Keep it short.
Okay, yeah, sorry, thank you. My question is basically talking about the party she's representing, the party she's contesting under. Considering that she's running under the All Progressives Congress, and we're here. We are in all of these problems because of the party she's contesting on this. So I really want to know how is she planning to balance the old anger and the old thing that a party has done, and she's still talking about the things that have been damaged, and she's still running under the same party. How does she want to handle it?
Well, I just to rephrase that question. I mean, this is not an attack on you, Princess, but then I definitely do not think that it's just one party that got us into this mess in the first place, and that's the sad that. But then I'm not speaking for Princess. Queen Esther, you want to go ahead?
Yes, thank you, Rinu. So, hi, Princess. We haven't seen you in office before now, so we don't know what your performance would be like. And you're contesting under a party that is not everybody's favorite at the moment. And you're going to the Senate where this party is majority and many consider them as a rubber stamp for the executive. Now, the few female senators who are in the Senate are not so vocal and are really not available to the youth and the women that they claim to represent, including the media. My question is, at times where there are national issues where it doesn't really settle with your conscience, would you be willing to go against the party to talk about it? Would you speak against policies that are not right, even if it doesn't tally with what the party goes for? Say there's an absurd amount for loan request now and you think it's not right for us to be borrowing, would you speak against it? And then also, what is your planned relationship for the women and for the youth and the media? How available are you going to be to this group of people? Thank you.
Can I answer?
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much for that. Let's just take two more and then you can go. Right. Let's just take two more people and then you can go. Stainless, please go. Stainless, you have a question for Princess?
Yep. Good evening, Princess. I think first and foremost, Nigeria is too big for one senator to be so concerned about the suffering of Nigerians. What plan do you have to improve your constituency in particular? And in all honesty, what is your reality about this present regime, the Buhari regime, with their policies? Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Stainless. Sheikh, please, we can have you now.
Okay, so I will try to make it very succinct. So, Princess, I think they've highlighted the fact that you're focusing more as an executive, but I want to bring you very focused now. Please, can you just tell us two policies? You've talked about healthcare, you've talked about education. Tell us two policies that you've identified that are bad in Nigeria at the moment for our education and our healthcare, and two policies that you will chase when you get into the house. I'll just keep it that focused, please.
Thank you, Sheikh. Princess, you have the next 5 minutes. Go ahead.
Fantastic. So let me start by saying, thank you all so much. Great questions. I appreciate the thoughtfulness into each and every question. It shows that we're really making sure that we elect the very best leaders in 2023. This is so important. Grill us all. Make sure only good people get in. If I'm not good enough, tell me. So I'm loving this. I think the first person I heard said, you talked about rebuilding Lagos. So with that, again, I mentioned that I was extremely heartbroken. I will tell you what I did during that period. But in terms of the rebuilding Lagos, I was consulting and I needed to put the strategies together for that. Regarding the NSAS, when the whole incident was going on, I called at least 10 governors. I was sending text messages frantically. I was hell-bent on getting justice for the victims until today. And this is a single important reason for my senatorial ambitions. If we had leaders who really genuinely believed and loved us all, NSAS would not have happened. We all know that. So I think my actions now drove into a progressive manner, a relentless manner, not just myself getting into Senate, but for many other young leaders who are aspiring. I will tell you, we now have a coalition of about 6 people who are running for very key offices, and they are young people. And it gives me joy. Please DM me. Please reach out, anyone who is thinking of contesting for office. Now, someone said, why APC? I've been a member of APC for a while. I've mentioned that I've consulted with government in APC. Again, I'm going through the route that would get us change the fastest, the quickest. We need change. We need it now. We needed it yesterday. We needed it 60 years ago. Nigeria must move forward. I'm loyal to Nigerians. I'm loyal to Nigeria. Hello, can you still hear me?
Yes,
Am I still on?
absolutely, Princess.
Okay,
Go ahead.
good. Sorry, I had some calls
Yes,
coming.
yes.
I'm loyal to Nigerians first and foremost. It is what we need to do to get genuine, passionate, progressive leaders in government is what we all need to be doing between now and 2023. Since NSAS ended, before NSAS ended, I have no other mission but a greater Nigeria, a stronger Nigeria, a united Nigeria, a progressive Nigeria. Next
All
question.
right. Thank you very much, Princess. Akin, you want to come in at this point?
Yes, hi everyone. Again, Princess, thanks for taking the questions. I've got a question that's very pointed, and you talked about your progressive values. You talked about, sort of your, the side of the aisle where, with NSAS. This question, is targeted at young women and most especially young Nigerians. Blockchain, cryptocurrency was at the heart of the NSAS fundraising, as we all know it. The government went hard to crush the cryptocurrency economy. A lot of young Nigerian women between the ages of 18 and 25 are creating wealth, storing wealth using cryptocurrency. But then the government steps in, starts seizing bank accounts, enforcing, where we don't need policies to draw us backward in 21st century. Where do you stand on this issue of cryptocurrency as we look to the future, as a new generation that's looking to break some of these cycles of poverty that's held us back? You know of the unemployment that plagues young Nigerians. You know of the lack of opportunities. But then where we can compete, with the West or other emerging economies, the government steps its neck or its foot on the neck of young Nigerians, to be very, very precise. Where do you stand on this particular topic? Would you go into the Senate to pass a bill? Would you speak up? Would you Sorosoke on behalf of many young women, many young Nigerians looking to create wealth? Question for you.
I will always Sorosoke for a progressive Nigeria. I may do it quietly, I may do it privately, I may do it one-on-one, but I never hide my displeasure with certain things going on in the country. But how much more can we continue to complain and talk about it than to actually take action? The key foremost action, if we want change, if we want progress, is to get the progressive leaders in government. So when we say, oh, do these young people have experience or where are they coming from? Let's just remember that there hasn't been much of the progress we've been screaming, talking, and demanding since 1960. Let's just remember that we must take chances on the young people, on the Nigerians that we truly believe in. Nigeria's issue today, yesterday, 60 years ago, is first and foremost a leadership issue. If we have leaders who are putting the nation first and citizens first, there will be checks and balances on each other. There will be someone that will call that leader that banned crypto and say, look, possible. It will affect our citizens. It will take us backwards. Why are we doing this? Don't ban this. We will check each other because Nigeria should not be going backwards. We are many decades behind from the developed world, yet we are all rich. We are human rich. We have brain. We have intelligence. We have people who are ready to work and can't find job. Kilo day. If I start going, I may not end. So I would hold on there.
Thank you very much, Princess, for that. Like I said, Princess is running for Ogun Senatorial Central District. Sorry, let me repeat that. Ogun Central Senatorial District. She's running for Senate. Her name is Princess Latoriba Majekodumi. I'm sure this is supposed to be like a fully gender conversation. However, like we have a lot of time or little time on our hands, so I'm sure that we're going to have Princess come on this space again, you can follow Princess. And this is not endorsing anybody, but then this is one of the young people that have decided they want to come out and, vie for political offices. Thank you very much, Princess. I hope that, sometime when we're having gender conversations, I can reach out to your team, and then, because your team, they kept messaging me, and I said, this is a woman, and she's contesting. Yes, let's have her. So thank you, Princess, for coming.
Absolutely.
Sorry for the barrage of questions. I have like an NSAS constituency, so I don't think I should be saying I'm sorry because, but then this is a question that I expected.
We need it. We need it. It's so good. I'm so happy to have heard those questions, and I'm so happy my team reached out to you. I followed the entire NSAS journey, and I saw how bullish and passionate you were for Greater Nigeria. I saw your work, Rinu. So well done. I love you, and thank you so much.
I love you too. Thank you so much for coming, and have a good night. You can say, you have 1 minute, just to talk to the audience before you go.
Thank you all so much. Again, I'm running for the Central Senatorial District. 2023 elections is February 18th, 2023. Please get your PVCs if you're in Ogun State Central. Mobilize people to get their PVCs. We have strategies that are in the works. We're on bound every day, every week when we're not traveling. You can reach out to me anytime, any day. We're in this together. We're winning together, and I want you to check me. Send me questions, criticize me. It only helps me be better. Thank you all so much. Have a great evening.
Thank you very much, Princess, for this. And yes, that was Princess Olatunji Majekudumi from Ogun Central Senatorial District, running for Senate. Thank you very much, for coming, and thank you, everyone, for the questions. A lot of people are, concerned about the barrage of questions, and I probably am not giving, the speakers enough time to answer the questions properly. I'm just trying to make sure that I stick to my time. I said we're going to be having for 3 hours, but then I'm trying to stick to the time so people won't come for me. Thank you again. That segment was amazing. Like I said earlier, this space is free for people who want to come, talk, have conversations regarding the 2023 elections, for aspirants and candidates as well who, claim to want to serve. I think you should come and talk to the people that you're claiming that you're going to serve, right? Also, this segment is sponsored by House of Lunette. I'm accepting sponsorships. You want to sponsor my space? I'm not collecting money from politicians. So if you want to sponsor my space, please, I'm accepting grants to go and sponsor my space. House of Lunette, go to I'm saying it so that you can go there. www.houseoflunette.com. Go there and buy. Buy them out. Let them know that I have people in my space. So go to House of Lunette, www.houseoflunette.com. You can see the lunettes on the Twitter space. Go there and purchase as much as you can. Please, 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 please. And that's like I said, I'm accepting sponsorships. I'm not collecting money from politicians, as people have claimed. Now to the second segment. But then before we go, you can click on share this space to your followers, let them join in and join the conversation. Like I said, let's start having spaces regarding our own future. Aisha, you want to say something? Go ahead.
Yes, thank you so much, Rinu. I wanted to say something regarding one of the questions that came up on to Princess, which is saying to Princess, why is she in APC? I think one of the things we must understand is that politics is not a love affair. It's not about emotions. It's about being pragmatic. It's about strategy. And it's very important for people to understand that APC, PDP, ADC, YPP, whatever it is, party it is, what is most important is the kind of candidates they are throwing up. Competent candidates with capacity, candidates that are credible and are going to work for Nigeria. If you're going to sit down and keep saying that, oh, we're not going going to vote for certain people, but even if they are competent, if they're in certain parties, at the end of the day, we are going to be the losers. So it's time for Nigerians to be pragmatic, to be able to work up what are the kind of candidates they want, the kind of criteria, and then they give it to those parties and ensure that those parties are throwing up the competent candidates in their parties to be the ones that will bear the party tickets. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for that. We're going into the next segment, and then we have the speaker for the segment already. It's interesting, this conversation used to actually be tied around gender as well, but then we'll also be asking some other questions. Before we go into this segment, we have 1 minute. Oluomo Hakim, you want to come in before we go?
Yes, I would like to say this. Thanks everyone for joining. Again, tweet, share on your feed, invite your friends. It's only important that we begin having these types of forums to really engage and truly discuss issues that matter to many young Nigerians as we look forward to the future. Again, every generation writes its rules. We're making sure that many of us can be part of the architectural design as we look forward to the future, because politicians run for office and may not have manifestos that don't cater to your needs does not mean you should sit idle and not push, influence where possible. So again, if you're in this space, the hope is to continue having more sessions like this and achieve very meaningful results. Oluomo, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much indeed, Mr. Akin. Thank you, Reno. Just thank you everybody for being on there tonight. So, at the end of the day, all we want is a better society. Elections aren't just about who's in office. They are all about which policies are put in place and where money is spent. For example, our taxpayers' money. Decisions are made every day in our society around issues such as our healthcare, our education sector, the minimum wage, the environment, taxes, housing, and of course, the public safety. So when people choose not to vote, they are giving their voices and power to someone else. So it's important that we get it right. 2023, we need to come out in droves, come and vote and elect the right people, so we can move the country forward. We all have a part to play in shaping our country today, and all maybe living our lives, our voices matters. Everybody counts, including me, myself, including you. Everybody has a role to play in moving this country forward. So in 2023, you have to vote for yourself, vote for your family, vote for your community, and of course, vote for a better Nigeria. That's what we want. I yield the mic for now. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Oluomo of Debbie, and thank you to my co-host. I want to take away this co-host, so if you're a female, you can co-host on these conversations. Please reach out to me. Welcome, sir, Dr. Bukola Saraki. Welcome, sir. Good evening. Please, the very first question, I'm sorry to throw a question right now. What should we refer to you as? Is it senator or doctor? What should we refer to you as?
Doctor.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for joining the space. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you for inviting me. Good evening, everybody.
All right. I think that your team actually reached out. But then.
Yeah, but I think for at least accepting, we could reach out and you could say no. So, thank you for accepting.
Okay, no problem. Now that is cleared, I just had, a candidate, an aspirant, a female from, the current ruling party that wants to vie for Senate, and the Nigerian Senate actually has voted down the Gender and Equal Opportunities Bill for about 3 times now. That bill actually, if people don't understand what this bill is supposed to be, it's supposed to accord women equal rights to men in various spheres, including politics. And these 3 times that has been voted, you were actually Senate President as well when this bill was voted down. You also made a statement to a group of the parliamentarians or legislators in 2019 about the level of participation of women in politics in Nigeria. And Nigerian politicians, that statement, when I read that part, it came close to the elections. And Nigerian politicians, in my experience, have always made pledges, close to election time. Everybody knows that. But then, in your former position as a Senate President, what was done to modify the status quo between 2015 and 2019?
Between 2015 and 2019, we did carry out a lot of attempts, bills that we passed to try and ensure we had better female representation. The particular bill you're talking about, the gender and equality bill, so happens to be the bill that I would say that was my biggest regret in the eighth Senate, because as you rightly said, it covers not only political participation but also covers financial inclusion as well. But I think it's a manifestation of my determination to try and push it through, that it went 3 times. Normally, when a bill goes one and is rejected by practice, that's it. It doesn't come into that session, it comes again. But I had to go around to appeal and talk to a lot of people to see how we can get that bill to come across again. Unfortunately, it did not pass. But by and large, there are things like sexual harassment in tertiary institutions to protect safety of women, the Electoral Act 2010, the amendment to ensure participation of women in the parties, violence to try and make it safer. Of course, one of the problems you find in gender participation, female participation, is issue of safety, the violence that we see. So there was in the bill that we passed in 2016, is it something like that, when we passed the amendment, was to try and ensure that elections were safer for women and ensure that parties also made an extra effort to ensure that women had a role to play in the political parties. So we did that. We also looked at social safety net bill. That again also is to ensure that women had better rights, better opportunities. That as well passed, but unfortunately did not get the assent. So there are a lot of things we did in the eighth Senate. The constitutional amendment was also an attempt to, which again unfortunately did not pass. When you look at it, you see, one has to also understand that a lot of people in the National Assembly are representing different constituencies with different backgrounds, different culture, and it's a lot of work, and that's why I'm so excited being here today, because it's today that we start the work for the kind of National Assembly that we'll have in the future. Sometimes you look at the National Assembly and think, oh, they didn't pass this. You can immediately come to a conclusion based on the composition of the right kind of people going to the National Assembly. And that's why I'm so keen that we should start the discussion that will ensure that women participate more, not only at election, participate in the political parties, have conversations, and we make a lot of effort to ensure that there's fair representation. Once we get that, then it also makes it much easier for some of those laws that we need to do that will ensure fairness and right representation.
All right, thank you. And still on that very same topic, talking about the pledge, this same pledge that you made in 2018, I guess, that more women be given the opportunity to vie for office. It's election time in 2023. You are, let me refer to you as an influential person in Nigerian politics. If you are in the position to, would you advise men to step aside and let a woman run, as men have always run the country around? And this is a statement I've always made, that men have been ruling the country for the past 60-something years, and it's been a total disaster. So if you are in a position to, would you advise men to step aside and let a woman run?
I don't think it's an either or. I don't think it's about one stepping down for the other. But what I think, and I totally agree about, is that there must be an intentional and deliberate approach to ensuring that women are well represented. The population is split almost 50-50. So where you're having men in the National Assembly accounting for 87% probably, then definitely that is not a good representation of what the future holds. So I would definitely work to ensure that we have in our parties, for example, to see that, listen, in the political processes and the primaries, we must make room to ensure that women are given an opportunity to represent us. Whether it is elective or whether it's appointed position, then we must ensure that we do that. So in doing that, I don't think it's about one stepping on the other. I think it's about one making room. Definitely. I think if we it is not going to happen if we allow the process to continue. So you're right in the sense that with men or leaders, and that's where I stand. I stand more that we leaders in our political party, and this is not something I'm saying now because it's close to election. If you look at my track record, it's something I've done consistently to say if we do not do it deliberately, we will not change the system. And it's not only just the political system, let's be fair. I think the society, by and large, and all different structures in society over the years has not led to that. And I think modern and progressive leaders today, this is what we need to be doing. We need to deliberately say, National Assembly, House of Rep, how many members do we have, and work towards it. We can do that until when we get to a point where we can amend the laws. But I think as leaders politically, we can take a decision. But to do that, yes, the leaders can, but we need the followers too. And that's why this kind of conversations tonight is so important. So I agree with you that I'll call it not replace, make room for them. We must deliberately make room for women to participate. And it's good for the society because the perspective, generally by nature, women are better builders of communities, of families, of the nation. They'll bring a different perspective. And when you talk about inclusion, you talk about unity. If you don't have equity and everybody feels an inclusion, you cannot achieve that. So we shouldn't be doing it just because we want to do it. I think there's value also in doing it, and that is where the world is today. And if we want as a country to be there, then we must ensure that we do the right thing. But the point I want to really appreciate is that it's not going to happen naturally. It has to happen by deliberate and intentional approach. And to do that, there must be a meeting point, both the men, the leaders who are in power today, to accept that you got to make concessions. I mean, I'll just give a good example. Like in a political party, if you look around, most of the state political party officers in most parties, whether it's PDP, APC, even the new ones, you find that the majority of them, apart from the woman leader, who is a woman, most of the other positions are men. But the discussion that has to happen is that we must be able to say no, aside from a woman leader, take that aside. We're not counting that. Secretary, even chairman, organizing secretary, financial secretary, we must deliberately decide that must be filled by a woman. It's when we begin to do that. And that's why I agree with you that it is not an either or. One just got to make room for the other so that we can balance and make up for what has been the case in the past.
Well, I think that you have successfully maneuvered my question.
Have I?
Yes, you did. But then I'll go on to the next question. However, this is going to be an integrated session because this space is actually about getting people who normally didn't have access to ask questions. So while the hosts ask questions, we'll also be taking one speaker at a time intermittently so that, there's sort of a balanced conversation. Yeah, it's not just a tailored conversation, but I'll ask question 3 before Toye comes in. So this question, many people have been talking about it. I think somebody even asked Princess before she left. Should it matter when we select leaders in Nigeria?
I think we need to go back to what led to the bringing of zoning at the initial stage. I think it was if you remember, it was our party in 1999, where following the June 12th and there was a view by and large by everybody that there was not fairness, and a certain part of the country had won election and it was cancelled. And the party deliberately, again, intentionally said, listen, in order to balance those issues, in order to show fairness, that should be brought in. And that was the driving factor at that time. That was 1999. We're now in 2022. I'm sure zoning is still a factor, but some will argue that zoning is not the only factor now as well. We've seen what the country looks like when you don't have good leadership. We've seen the importance of leadership, the importance of capacity. So it is a factor, but my view is it's not the only factor. You must look at all the issues that are important. And where we are today as this country, I think by and large, when you sample a lot of opinion, people are talking about the experiences we've seen in the last number of years. It is clearly the quality of leadership so important that you can't just, just think zone alone. So neither can you discard it. Don't get me wrong. You must bear it in mind, but it's not the only singular. My view, my own personal view, is not the only singular factor that you must consider, particularly where the country is today. Because the country, as you know, if you look at the level of insecurity, the disunity of the country, you look at the economy, particularly the economy and the security issues. Those are issues that are challenges that require particular qualities of leadership to take us out of that. And I think that those are some of the things that, and we also don't forget the topic we're talking about now also, there's an issue of gender. So there are many issues you've got to consider now when we talk about offices and election.
Really, I agree with you that there are many issues that we should consider. But then, did you say yes? It should matter.
Yes, I said it does matter, but you can't take it in isolation. It can't be the singular issue that decides on what your decision is. That's the point I'm making. There are a number of things in the basket that you look at. That's the point. In 1999, it was just a single item that was taken. If you remember, in 1999, it was just taken as we've zoned to one particular part, and that's it. But now in 2022, point I'm saying is that there are other things we need to look at in deciding.
Okay, I get that part, but then this brings into question, while there was the conversation about you coming on the space, many say that you actually played a prominent role in the prevention of the re-election of the former president, Goodluck Jonathan, because he allegedly violated the zoning principle in 2015. So, I mean, it has been reported that many are contesting for the 2023 elections, and they are from the part of the country that should not actually be contesting. So don't you think that it's a negation of the zoning agreements for which, the former president, Goodluck Jonathan, was castigated? I mean, I think then it was about strengthening the unity and the survival of the country and all of that. Don't you think that voting or that zoning principle is being violated right now? With some candidates that are claiming to aspire for presidency.
Well, when you say violated the guidelines are set by the party. I'm not aware that my party has set any guidelines specifically as of today. So, I think was it 2 days ago where the party came out very clearly and asked what was the position of the party on zoning, and the party declared that as far as the party is concerned today, the particular position of the president is open to all aspirants across the country. So there's nothing at the moment that says anything different to that. The position of the party, at least I don't know about the other party, and I don't think the other party to come up with a zoning position as of today. But my party, for example, has clearly said that the position is open to all aspects. So as of today, I don't think that any action is done against that principle. I mean, the party is the one that gives the guidelines, because at the end of the day, everybody votes on the party platform. So if the party hasn't given those guidelines yet, that to say to the contrary, the best what the party has said, which it re-emphasized the other day, was that the race is open to all aspirants for any part of the country.
All right, Rinu, I'll come in. Dr. Bukola, thanks for taking that question, and I want to follow up with a question that for many of us young Nigerians, we're looking to the future and we're asking ourselves, are we ever going to get to a politics where religion, ethnic orientation, tribe, class doesn't really matter in Nigeria, where we forge a stone in which, again, the guy from the smallest tribe in Cross Rivers can emerge as president, one in which we're not calculating rotation between regions, but then saying if the person stands up for the ideals of Nigeria, has the ideology and the vision to move the country forward, shouldn't we get to a point where we all rally behind a figure and be united? Do you ever think my generation would get, again, I'm going to be 40 this year, but do you think my generation would ever get to that Nigeria of our dreams? Question for you, sir.
I really believe so, and I think it's going to be sooner than later. I really, if you sample opinion of a lot of people today and ask them what's the singular factor in deciding who should lead you, what I'm getting, the feedback I'm getting, people are looking for more capacity and good leadership. That probably wasn't the case decades ago. So don't worry, I'm sure in your time, even in my time, it will happen. Because that is what the modern world needs today. That is what a country like Nigeria requires today. You need a modern, progressive leader that has a firm understanding of the issues, that can provide solutions, that can provide a better life, that can unite, that can bring people together and be able to rebuild this country. So those are the driving force. And I think that it's particularly the younger generation, because the younger generation if those who are doing despite this such a difficult situation, and they come to appreciate that. Some of them say, look, we just want government not in our way. You hear that a lot. We're working very hard, and some of the frustrations, and that is why some of them believe that just give me the right enabling environment and I'll do well. And I keep on saying the economy does not know APC, PDP. The difficult times, the insecurity does not decide whether you're Muslim, Christian. The bad times does not look at who you voted for. It's Nigerians, and we must begin to look at ourselves as Nigerians looking for a better country. And that is, and to do that, you must vote for leaders that do that. Now, where the challenge is the level of participation. What I've come to observe is that people like yourself who understand the issues, who understand the kind of country you want, who understand the kind of leader you want, by and large don't vote. Now, those that vote at the end of the day really are just looking for that gratis of that day. And that is why I really honestly, I must commend you. I must commend the patriotism of this kind of platforms you organize, so that people can begin to see the importance of voting, the importance of participating, because it's only when we do that that right kind of leader you're talking about will emerge, and that comes out from the followership, and that is what we need to do. And I'm very confident that you don't have to wait to my lifetime, we will get that election where we will elect a president that is based on what we believe he'll be able to do for Nigeria, as opposed to his religion or his ethnicity or what part of the country he comes from or what language he speaks. So I'm confident about that, Olu. Yes.
Thanks for that, Oluwama. Go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Njenje. Thank you very much. I think if I'm not mistaken, politics have been for about a total of 20 years now. I'm just going to ask you two quick questions, sir. My first question will be, what are your criteria for picking candidates to run for office, offices in our society? Two, let's talk about money in politics and election campaign finance laws. Should we do more with probing sorts of election funds? And is it also possible for anyone to
come again with that?
Okay, sir. Okay, let me repeat the question again, sir. Should we do more with strengthening our judiciary with probing sorts of election funds? And also, is it possible for anyone to win an election without a huge financial backing in our society today, sir?
Well, elections are very expensive, and not only in Nigeria, they are very expensive across the world. But I think that apart from the expense, as I said, there are voters like yourself who on the day of election are looking for a better country. They're looking for a leader that they believe will provide jobs, secure the country, and they can differentiate between the kind of candidate from another. Now, for people like yourself, money on the day of election, yes, to play, but to not play such a big role. But if we get the wrong kind of people that come out to vote on that day, then money will be such a big issue. We can't run away from the expense of elections, where all over the world elections are expensive, and we can't. I don't think we'll be able to run away from that. But I think what tends to happen is that the electorate will look at other issues beyond what a candidate is spending to look at how good a candidate is. I think that's point number one. Point number two is that you also talked about what are the qualities? I think you need honesty, you need accountability, you need solution providers. You need to be courageous. You need to be able to stand on principles, on what you believe in. You need to believe in your conviction. You need to be patriotic. You need to have a great desire. You need to have a track record of being someone that can perform. Those are the kind of qualities that you must look for in the kind of candidates we look to in 2023, and also must go back to this issue of of inclusion, of being ensuring that we have gender inclusion. I emphasize that because I believe that it ensures that we have a better perspective, and we ensure that the kind of leaders that we have speak to everybody, and that helps the country unite, as I said, and bringing the country together. So if we stick to those qualities we've talked about, but the point, and that's why again I must commend you, because think about it, years ago, candidates don't even tell us what they want to do. You don't even know much about them. We don't even subject them to debates, be able to speak and come and tell the people they want to vote for, this is what I have to offer, and be able to question them, be able to see into their minds and see into their thoughts, into their policies, and as such. So sometimes why are we kind of surprised with the kind of leadership that we get? But now where we're getting this level of participation, we're getting quality followership, we're getting more accountability. I'm very confident that the kind of leadership that we will have in all the levels of government coming 2023 will be much better. What we need to do is sustain conversations like this, sustain the right kind of people going out to register, having the discussion. We should not wait to just the day of election. Even when we talk about women participation, we should try and ensure that the critical mass from day-to-day politics, women get involved in the discussion, and it's not just about election. And I think if we do that, we as a nation, we're better off. For sure, we'll be better off. I mean, this was not what we were doing 4 years ago or even 8 years ago. So we are moving in the right direction, and it's been driven by the younger ones who are very patriotic. Because let's say it, I mean, some of the older ones, you can say they do it because they want to contest. A lot of you are not doing it to contest. You just want a better country, and I think that is such a good thing, and it can only help those that contest like us to be more accountable. And I keep on saying that the electoral process should be such, and that's why we must also strengthen the electoral process. Because when people are elected and they know that if they don't perform, they can be kicked out, it also makes people more accountable. Some of the problems you have now is because people are elected and the system is so rigged, and that is why the electoral that is before the president, a lot of us the last 1 year has been working so hard and making our comments and that we need a new electoral act, and I hope that the president this time round will sign it, because that will go a very long way into ensuring that we have a better electoral process. If we have a better electoral process, we'll definitely have a better government, and then the more likely possibility that a better life for our people.
Thank you, sir. And you keep saying, you keep commending us. I don't think that we should be commended, because this is about our survival. This is actually about our future.
Sorry, can I come in there? Can I just come? I'm not commending you because I want to look good. Honestly, this is what is going to make the difference. I mean, you might see it as just what you're doing, but I promise you, when we sit down years later and talk about where did you change this country, it is when the followership truly gets interested. And people always talk about leadership. Leadership, yes, but I have come to see that followership is as important as leadership. If followership takes the kind of approach that a lot of you, the younger ones, are taking now, I promise you, the leadership will get better.
Thank you very much, sir. I want Nigeria Best to come in. You have one question. Every speaker, one question. Let's keep it short.
Okay, can
Toye.
I? Yes, Rooney, you said I should be on standby.
Hold on, sir. Hold on, sir Oseni. 45 seconds, one question. Toyebo, please,
Okay,
Toyebo.
thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. Saraki. Thank you for being a role model. We appreciate you for your charisma and oratory ability to paint a picture for us to see. My question is this, sir. You kind of answered a part of my question, but I'm bringing it back to you when you emphasize on the aspect of the followership. How can we institutionalize a leadership development mechanism that is apparent, obvious, with a curriculum, with a structure that anyone who is interested in governance can go through effectively to develop leadership ability from the grassroots upwards? You wrote about it. Your story.
Toye, I said 45 seconds. Let's keep it
I'm
short.
sorry.
Straight to your question.
Okay.
Thank you.
So what I'm asking, sir, is
You added a lot of English, so can you just break it down? Because I was just hearing institutionalized. Can we,
Okay, thank you. Okay, sir, what is happening to the local government structure right now? Because that is one area where we can develop leaders who can actually bring development to the grassroots rather than focus on the center. How can we revive the development structure of Nigeria from the local government? The local governments are moribund. They are helpless. Nothing is happening there. And this development and this liberation and transformation we are talking about can come from there. How do we go about it, sir?
All right, thank you, Toye. Hold on, sir. Nigeria's Best, go ahead. Nigeria's Best, are you there? Please go ahead.
I'm here. I have a question directly to Dr. Saraki. This is a question I've asked many times, but nobody's been able to give me an answer. You're an intelligent man, so I know I'm not as smart as you are. But from the moment I looked at Buhari in 2015, I knew Buhari had nothing to offer. You knew Buhari had nothing to offer. You knew his history of being a bigoted and divisive leader. So the question I have for you, Dr. Saraki, is what was your plan? Why did you hoist this kind of character on Nigerians? Don't insult my intelligence by telling me you didn't know. You knew. So the question is, what was your plan? There was clearly a plan. That's why you put him there. So can you talk us through that plan? And secondly, what is your net worth?
One question, Nigeria's Best. Let's keep to the rules, please. Thank you very much. Go ahead, Doctor.
Okay, well, I think I also want to make something clear. My main focus is that I really want to use this opportunity to create a conversation about the 2023 election and how we can ensure gender participation. I really would have that discussion and try as much as possible not to be about me as an individual in doing that. But I will answer a lot of the questions as much as possible. But I think what is important for me is that if we can live this discussion and build more interest in how we're going to get gender inclusion 2023. Now, let me take the two questions one by one. Now, on the issue of local government and leadership, I think at the local government level, we need to really see how we can get more competent people interested at the leadership at the local government council level. And the problem we have is that a lot of those who have shown interest at the local government have nothing too much to offer at that level. A lot of the good hands don't contest for local government council positions. And we've got to try and see where people who really want to make the country better, want to make their council better, go in there. In some states now, you begin to see qualified engineers, retired civil servants saying, I'm going back to my local government council and I'm going to contest. The more we see those kind of people contested, then the quality of governance at that level would definitely improve. That would take time first part process towards that is getting the electoral process working properly. Because at the moment, the electoral process is not working properly. So those people that have that kind of skill think it's a waste of time. Why am I going to even waste my time going to contest at the local government level? And I agree with you that that also is hindering development at that level. So clearly that is something that we need to address. And I think the shortest way to that, again, is that the National Assembly and the leadership at the top is going to make that difference. As I said, intentional and deliberate approach to leadership is what's going to improve at the local government level. It's not going to happen organically. It's going to happen organically. It's going to take a very, very long time. What we need to do is get the electoral as it supports it, get the leadership at the national level, and hope the leaders at that point will begin to tutor and mentor some of the people that work with them, who eventually will now go to the local government and provide some of that experience at the local government level. Coming from local government right up the way to national, you're not going to get the kind of materials that we want at the local government level. As I said, with all due respect to the second question, where he says that he knows I know that President Buhari had nothing to offer the country. I think I would differ from that. I think my view in 2015, honestly, was that it was my opinion, that there was the issue of security, there was the issue of level of corruption at that time, and that with the issue of integrity, issue of ability to lead the country. And with good intention, a lot of us felt there was going to be a change there was nothing personally one was gaining out of it. So it wasn't that one was doing it out of any personal gain out of it. And you could see that when I realized that what we hope to achieve, what we hope to deliver for Nigerians was not happening, we parted ways. And I think that was an acceptance for me to say that, no, this was not what we're bargaining for. So, and that's the truth. I mean, I'm speaking from the heart to really say that was what happened. We had great hopes, we had great intention. It did not happen, but me, unlike others, I said, look, this is not what I promised Nigerians, and I can't continue, and we parted ways. And that's the honest truth about that. I'll say that. I think on the issue of declaration of assets, I think that has been tested, has been submitted, and code of conduct form and all that. But as I said, I'm sure I would come back here many times to discuss, but I'd always said that I would really want today's discussion to be about election, gender, not even about my aspirations. I didn't really come here to sell myself as a candidate contest election. I just want to use my own knowledge and experience to generate interest on something that I think is so important to me.
Yeah, thank you, sir, for that. But then we understand that. However, there are conversations as well that people are interested in, and what can we do?
Yeah.
Fair enough. Desires of the people. I'm going to hand the mic to Sosini. Want to come in now?
Oh yes, Rino. I hope you guys can hear me because I am just walking down to my hotel room. I apologize, I came in a little bit late. Great conversations and great questions. And good to talk to you again, Dr. Saraki. This is Rufai. We've interviewed you a couple of times on Arise TV. I'd like to talk about money because from what I perceive in this country, if we don't talk about money and elections, we'll be wasting our time. Because the real problem is money. When politicians vie for positions, some of them take bank loans. I know people that have been declared bankrupts because they vied for a position. And when they get into power, the first thing is to pay back the loans they have taken or to be able to recoup their cash. And because of that, they will put their hands in the cookie jar one way or the other. How can we make I know elections are expensive everywhere in the world, but how can we make it less about money? The humongous amount being spent on elections in Nigeria is just another level of madness. It is so much money, and it will be foolhardy to expect any politician that has spent that amount of money to be able to do anything reasonable when he's got access to the budget. I mean, I've heard stories of serving governors that have over 14 billion in debt after running a governorship election. So please, let's talk about money.
Yeah, no, let's talk about that. No, I mean, that's a good point. I totally agree with you. It is not an excuse because you've run an expensive campaign that you should put your hand in the cookie. I mean, that is no excuse. And I don't think we should accept it. I don't think we should tolerate it. People run elections across the world. You might decide that, you know, whatever little you have, whatever asset you have, and if you win, fine. If you lose, fine. That is just, you know, what your own contribution, what you want to do. Friends raise money for you. But to make an excuse because you raise that much money and then that allows you to go and, no, I don't think it does. And I don't think we should allow that. But that goes back to, you know, the kind of things we need to do to curtail that. And those are things like, you know, some of our procurement procedures. Our procurement procedures are so weak. You know, we've tried as much as possible to see how you can, and that's one of the strong views I have when I used to talk about that we must take steps in prevention. You know, in the system that we operate at the moment, right? We try to pass it to the National Assembly where you try and make it difficult for processes of crime to be able to utilize the society. I always give an example. I say, listen, if a member of parliament in another country, say in the United Kingdom or somewhere, where processes of crime, it's impossible for you to put that to the system. And I think that what we need to do is pass laws that ensure that financial institutions, ensures that people in charge of property, asset development, makes it very difficult. And they are held accountable if they're in illegal transactions. BP, Bureau of Public Procurement, is a place where not a lot of noise is made up, but that is the center of where all processes are being done for government expenditure. We need to strengthen all those sectors. If we strengthen all those sectors, so even if you're a politician, you say, okay, you spend money, you've taken a loan, but if your system is so strong and so tight, good luck to you. Now you're being in government, but there's no way for you to be able to steal our money. So I agree with you. We should not condone it. We should never condone it that because you have spent money. What business of the electorate is that? If you're going to decide you want to go and take a loan and do that, that doesn't justify for you to go and put your hand in. No, we shouldn't. And that well, a lot might look at it from that point of view, but that is totally not what we should accept as an electorate. And that goes back to the quality of those that vote. The quality, and that is why I keep on saying that getting the right kind of people, collecting voters' card would change the kind of leaders that we get. I mean, so like you, for example, if I mean, it can't be, but imagine what 5 million people with your kind of orientation, your attitude. You're not going to vote for somebody just because he spent money. You're going to look for other qualities. And unfortunately, the people that have been voting in the past, a lot of people who have jobs, who are doing well, prior to now, because of violence, because the system is rigged, they never used to even come out, not to bother to even go and vote. So the kind of quality of leadership we get, that's what we get. But I am confident, and that is why we must continue this kind of discourse. Let us get the right kind of voter. If we get the right kind of voter, we will get the right kind of people being elected to positions. Who will be able to separate people who just want to spend money? You'll be able to say, oh, look at this gentleman, he's spending a lot of money. Does that think I'm not going to vote for him because he hasn't got the quality that he deserves? So, but the question is, because the challenge is, because we have poverty so high and rampant in the country, that is the challenge that we have. How do we manage and work through that? And those are the things that, you know, we just have to see what we can do in mobilizing the right kind of people to vote. But to come back, we must talk about money. I'm not saying we should not talk about money. I strongly reject the fact that because somebody has spent money, so he has the right to go. No. We can't. We as a society, we can't accept that. We shouldn't, and we should work towards doing that. And the only way to do that is to strengthen those institutions that prevent them being able to say, okay, I'm going to now try and recoup what I've spent.
Okay. Dr. Saraki, you see, there's a difference between idealism and reality. As a society, we should reject that. That's not the norm. But reality, based on reality, that's what happens in Nigeria. And that's why the electoral process is as good as dead on arrival in the first place. Because you know that an average politician that's going in there is going to recoup most of his bank loans, and their interest abound. And all of this is happening in a country that has a lot of headwinds coming up in 2023. We are kicking the case of subsidy down the road. The government collects so little revenue. I was speaking at a forum in England just yesterday before I got out to Berlin now. And I was talking about the fact that despite the fact that the British government, England is just a small island, but the British government collects well over 800 billion in government revenue to spend for a population of about 60, 70 million. But Nigeria collects about 15 to 20 billion in government revenue to spend for a population of 220 million. Yet there's so much potential, but there's so much poverty. Does this scare you at all?
It doesn't scare me, because I'll tell you why it doesn't scare me, because I am so sure of what is required to turn this country around, because I have a firm understanding of what the issues are. For example, let's just say the figures you gave today. Yes, about $24 billion on crude oil. But guess what? Do you know that with the right kind of policy on gas, we can earn another 20 billion on gas? It is doable. It is so doable that I'm not talking about fantasy land. I'm not talking about something that is just an electoral promise. If we finish the infrastructure on the pipelines, we get the OBE line finished, we get the pipelines done, we begin to get the investment in the petrochemical sector. You find either it's ammonia for export, you can easily get your revenue going up from 24 billion to close to 40 billion. It is doable, Rufa. It is. And it all takes capacity to understand what the issues are, to create an enabling environment for investors to come in. Look, Egypt, when I was Senate President in 2016, Nigeria and Egypt were in the same position. I remember then I was having a meeting with the IMF country director, and he was telling me, you look at Egypt today. Egypt, despite in the situation, inflation is down, GDP is up, and its currency there's revaluation of the currency is appreciating. So it looks worrying, but you just have to take. There's some tough decisions we have to take. You have to take those tough decisions that will put us. There's no easy pathway. Let me. People who are going there for something else, if we truly want to turn this country, we've got to be honest with the electorate. There's not going to be easy, but we have to take some tough decisions, but we have to take them for the interest of this country.
Hold on that interest of the country, sir. Just hold on. Yeah, I didn't want to interrupt you, but then I just wanted.
Can I just finish? Don't worry, I'll allow you to take me. Let me just finish because it's a very important point that Rufai has raised. Because where the country is today, that it looks sometimes might look hopeless, but there are a lot of low-hanging fruits that we can address to improve and address revenue. If we need to ensure that there's macroeconomic stability, there's nobody that's going to bring money into an environment where you've got depreciation, you've got inflation at the level that it is, you've got debt rising at this level. And those are indices that we can address. Once we address those indices, I promise you, and have a current foreign exchange rate that is market driven and is uniform, you will begin to see stability. You begin to see investment, not necessarily foreign investors, even Nigerian investors. then you begin to see growth and you begin to see employment. Why it is possible, because some of those who are doing those things are not addressing some of these issues, either because they don't understand. I'll let you finish. So I mean, I'll stop and then I'll let you come back to that. Yeah, go ahead, Ren. I think you
All
want
right,
to.
we
I think there was
understand that.
something that triggered when I said interest. Yeah.
We understand that it's actually possible, sir. And you said one thing, that people that have been in the positions are not doing the necessary things. And it's quite an intriguing statement, because everybody knows that people who have been in these positions, I mean, ever since we claim to get this democracy, have not have not been doing the necessary things to make us move forward as a country. I'll hand the mic over to Aisha. Aisha, you want to come in? Can you unmute?
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone, once again. Good evening, Dr. Saraji. Before we go on, sorry, I'm going to put you on the spot a bit. I need your permission to be able to read out the DMs that we shared, myself and yourself, in 2016. Is that okay with you?
Unless I can remember. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, I'm going to come to that. First of all, on the issue of the 8th Assembly, I would say that the 8th Assembly was the worst until we got the 9th Assembly. And unfortunately, that's what we've had in Nigeria over time. Subsequent leadership always make things so worse that we forget the way the other ones were. There was a standoff, I will agree, between you then as Senate President and also the executive, but there was no standoff between you, the 8th Assembly, and the executive. And one of the things that I remember very correctly is the fact that the president then, during the 8th Assembly, we go and take some money out of the SS crude account without the permission, without the permission of the Senate, without seeking the approval of the Senate. And that in itself was an impeachable offense, and nothing really was done about it. It's very easy when when people are out of government for them to be able to tell us all the things that we're supposed to hear and all the things that will happen. And it's also a different thing when they get into office. And that's one of the things that have made a lot of people disillusioned about the whole political process. So I'm going to go back to those mails the DM that we exchanged as of that time. It might have been your team that were replying, I don't know. But I think I noticed in 2016, around November, your handle followed me, and I sent a DM on the 18th of November 2016, and it says, "Good day, sir. First of all, and I say it as it is, nothing personal. On a more serious note, what are you doing about the National Assembly? Right now, it's an embarrassment to the nation. And if Nigerians were able to get their acts together, they would scrap the Senate, and I personally would be at the forefront of that. As the number 3 man in Nigeria, what do you want to be remembered for? In the next 18 months or thereabouts, it will be another election, and what? This is the time you have to put your name in the history books of Nigeria as one of those who made a new Nigeria a possibility. What about open NAS? What is difficult in ensuring that? The biggest problem we have in Nigeria is a National Assembly that is bent on currying favor from the executive and protecting its corrupt self. What would the National Assembly stand for? When will the National Assembly stand for the Nigerian citizen whom poverty has made faceless, nameless, and voiceless? Forget how good people tell you you are today. Forget the sirens that follow you. Forget the doors that open to you. Forget the psychopathy and the praises and the hero worshipping. Ask yourself, and I put this in capital letters after them. Ask yourself, 50 years from now, when I am no longer here, what would people say about me? And I put a hashtag, build a legacy. That message was on the 18th of 11, 2016. And you did reply. All you handled is like a good disclaimer you said about not being nice. But I'll start by commending you for the nice things you've been doing for our dear country, Nigeria. I've been following your activities over the past few months. And right now, I'm reading the reply for Dr. Saraki's handle. I've been following your activities over the past few months, and I must commend your effort of trying to keep us all on our toes, and your effort in making sure the Bring Back Our Best campaign remains on the front burner. On opening now, it is not an on or off switch that one can just come in and flip. Since we came in June of last year, I've been working with senators and management of National Assembly to change the way things are done. As the Senate President, I do not have executive powers as I am only first among equals, which means lobbying is required to make landmark reforms. Some are open to the change, while some are pretty set in their way of doing things. So it is taking longer than expected. Openness than expected, right? Openness. We have been recording minor success stories from taking Nigeria.
Can I reply you?
I'm just it's going on and on. Can we like get to the question?
Because you have me before you, so why don't you just reply?
Oh, okay. So this is the thing, right? And in 2017, right, I will send you a message again saying to you, and even though I crave your indulgence to be here. You remember, I was supposed to have a lecture, and he did ask me to come and say I will try. So it's not just for me to be able to have this thing, but so please, after this, I might not speak. And this thing. On the 1st of January 2017, I sent another DM to the Senate President then. I said, Dear Senate President, 2017 is the year that you focus on yourself and your role and your duty to your nation. Remember some years ago, you were just a floor member of the Senate. Once upon a time, a governor who many sometimes forget was at the Senate. You were that person who would seek for himself to be acknowledged before he can even stand on the floor of the Senate and make submission. But today you are the one that permission is sought from. Do you know what happened to the man that you used to seek permission from? He's not dead. He's a senator who now has to seek permission from you to speak on the floor of the Senate. Can you tell me what was his outstanding achievement? Can you tell me what he did as a Senate president? In a few years, many will not even remember his name or that he was once a Senate president. Is that what you want for yourself? You sure can do better than that. You should be humble for the prominent place in the history pages of Nigeria and not that you were once a Senate president. Any fool can be a Senate president in Nigeria. You should be asking yourself, what am I bringing to the position of Senate president? Right now, it's a lot of banging gravel and doing Ajayi work. Made in Nigeria is a good project, but who sent you? You can't be quenching another person's fire when your own is there blazing away. Open NAS is a raging fire. Focus on it and quench it. Give it your all with the mind of making it happen and not the mind of seeing all the problems it will bring. Calling meetings with civil society that can work on it or demanding for it.
Aisha,
You know,
respectfully, Madam Aisha, just quickly, Madam Aisha, just hold on, please. Just on behalf of Dr. Bukala, please.
So let me respond because I'm a bit baffled.
We want to make sure.
Can I just come in and take them one by one?
Yeah.
So hold on, because it's important. It's important for me to also to educate her. When she talks about openness, I mean, you can go and check the records before the 8th National Assembly. There's no time before then that the budget of National Assembly was a public document. I mean, we made it public for the first time in the history of National Assembly. That was one of our achievements. At the time she was probably talking about 26, maybe at the beginning of the session. It became part of not only that, the budget process for the first time to have public hearings. That never happened in the history of this country. In the history of the National Assembly, you could go and check. Loans that were being requested by government were being asked questions. We said, tell us what this specifically, it has never happened. It's not happening now, is it? So when you talk curry favor, one of the things we went through was because we were not currying favor. All the personal persecution I went through was because I was not currying favor. All what I went through for 4 years because I was standing for the independence of the National Assembly. I said, with all due respect, I mean, we made those sacrifices and for National Assembly. If you also go and look at appointments, we stood our grounds on appointments that we felt were right or wrong. That is standing for the independence of National Assembly. Today, the most important bill in the health sector, where we allocated 1% of the CRF for health insurance, never been done before. It was the National Assembly 8. Take all the National Assemblies together, add all the bills they've passed. Till today, we have passed the most bills in the history of the National Assembly. So I mean, I would defend those records any day because I am proud of what we're able to do. Could we do more? Maybe we could, but to say that it's the worst National Assembly, I totally disagree with you. The records are there, they speak for themselves. And all this I'm saying, you can double check them. Double check, as I keep on saying. for the first time, people knew what the budget of the National Assembly was. Before then, it wasn't. And the time we're talking about was because at that early stage, we had to go back and forth to convince the members that, look, this is what we needed to do. And I told them, this is the promise I made. And I did it. Secondly, public hearing on budget, it started, I don't know whether they're doing it now, where again, we took the budget to public hearing. And some of these bills and petitions that had never happened before. So there was no time at all that we did things to support the executive against the public. And when you talk about excess-screwed accounts, I disagree with you. That government was spending excess-screwed account. There were budgets that were appropriated, and as to the best of our knowledge, we followed that. One thing they would tell you was that the 8th National Assembly under me, we did not for a second shy from our responsibility to question the executive. That was our problem. Our problem was because we stood for the Nigerian people. So when you say that it was an 8th Senate that was National Assembly that was working closely with the executive, not with the interests of the people, I totally disagree. The fact is that you can take us up on other things, but surely not that. And that is the legacy that we've left behind. I mean, today you see budget loans are coming, requests are made in 24 hours. That never happened in the 8th National Assembly. It will be going under rigorous questions and answers. And those were the kind of things we were doing in the National Assembly at that time. So I totally disagree with that completely. The facts are there, and you can verify those facts and come back to me.
All right. I mean, it's been an heated conversation. We're taking Dempsey. Dempsey, can you go ahead and ask your questions, because a lot of other people want to ask questions.
Dr. Saraki, even every member of this space, scholars, academic scholars in politics have gone on to say that history is present politics, or politics.
Please, let's keep it short. Straight to the question.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dempsey.
So I'm talking about the fact that history is present politics, while politics, of course, present day politics is tomorrow's history. Very quickly, Dr. Saraki, on the 9th of June 2015, you got elected as the number 3 man in the country and the number 1 man at the level of the National Assembly. You won unopposed as the Senate President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, as opposed to the party leadership's choice. And interesting, the drama, the intrigue behind what happened on that day. There were reports about how you and people loyal to you, members of the Senate loyal to you, had to sleep in a bus somewhere in the compound of the National Assembly. Sounds weird to my hearing, but hey, this is Nigeria, and anything, just anything is possible. About how the 9th of June happened, and for the first time, we had a Senate president who actually went unopposed, defeated the leadership of the party, defeated their opinion, and emerged with the support of the opposition. Of course, that is where you are today. Can you just take us through a trip into the past, and we'll have a blast?
I would really not be. I can take you through that anytime, but as I said at my opening remarks, I really wanted us to talk about gender issues and about the 2023 elections. Honestly, I know you have. I'm sure a lot of you have many questions for me. I can promise you. You can see I'm not somebody that can shy away from those questions. I would love to come back and take those questions, but what is important, as you said, that is the past. I'm sure we have time to talk about the past. I want us to look ahead into the future. It's the future that matters for us today, and I really want us to go back and talk about what we need to do to ensure women participation in 2023, ensuring that there's gender representation, and I think that is what is so important now in building this new country that we want to build together. And the days of talking about what happened in 2015, I'm sure there'll be times where we'll all sit back and talk about that.
If I could come in there, Doctor, if I could come in there,
Yeah,
I appreciate the fact that your team reached out for you because to come on this space, to talk on gender inclusion, because I made mention of it in one of my space, which is why I want to thank everybody that's joined this space. It's not something easy, but thank you for always tuning in and listening. However, you are a prominent figure in Nigerian politics, and the audience understands that you really need to talk about gender inclusion, which is like the first segment of this conversation. But then I said it earlier that we need to actually also understand the mood and try to adjust to that. If people want to ask questions on gender inclusions, they can come on. If people want to ask other questions, well, I just
sure, I get what you're saying.
just so before you answer that as well, I wanted to throw in my question because
Okay.
there are a lot of people waiting, and before you answer that, and is this sort of like going me back into the past? But I think it's a really important question. You were party member of the All Progressive Congress, the APC, in 2014, after defecting from the PDP government. But then in 2018, you defected back to the PDP, saying that, I think if I can quote you correctly, you said the All Progressive Congress can no longer serve as a platform for achieving aspirations and expectations of your people. But then what would you say about Nigerian politicians' ideology and their defection rates? It seemed to me like politics of opportunism. Is this what young people, today who are looking to go into political offices should be emulating?
Okay, let's take it one by one. When I left PDP in 2014, PDP was a ruling party. So when you say politics of opportunism, surely the opportunism to stay in the ruling party. It's not those. A lot of the opportunity you see is people leaving the opposition party to go to a ruling party. We took a risk in the sacrifice that wasn't opportunism. I mean, it had never been done before in Nigeria that you could vote out a ruling party. So where is opportunism there? It was based honestly on belief and patriotism that we thought, listen, this wasn't working, and we've got to put the interests of the people at heart, and we've got to try and see where we can put a better Nigeria. There was nothing to gain personally from it than trying to do what we believed in. In 2018, it's also there's consistency. 2018, we're in a ruling party. I mean, there were a lot of offers that were made to us and approaches to me, stay in the ruling party, to be better for you, everything. You're in the ruling party, you're the number 3 citizen in the ruling party. But again, one left that comfort zone because, as I said, we had made promises. And if you can go back, there's a clip I made when we were campaigning in 2014 to Nigerians. I said, we promise you better security, we promise you jobs and economy. And if we do not do it, you know what? Vote us out, because then we do not deserve it. And I'm someone that trying to keep to what I believe in. And that's what I believe, but it didn't happen. And so those movements were unfortunate, but they were not done out of opportunism. They were done against the flow of opportunism. Opportunism and trying to benefit for myself. I should have stayed in APC. I mean, I know all our better, and those today who stayed in APC who knew that things were not going well, but because it was comfortable, they were benefiting the state. So I think it's wrong it's the opposite at all. I mean, if it's opportunity and trying to benefit, one will have stayed in PDP at that time and also stayed in APC in 2018. So I agree with you that as politics matures, yes, there would be some level of stability, but it's not only in Nigeria that you see that. I mean, a lot of you can recollect. Was it just 2 weeks ago that a member of the Conservative Party moved to another party? So it's not completely unknown or uncommon. I mean, but you have to look at the circumstances. In that case, the gentleman moved because it was based on principle. He had lost confidence on the leader of the party. So again, he wasn't doing for opportunism. So but there are those, I agree with you, that move. They're in a opposition party, and they think they'll get benefits because this is now the ruling party, and they move. I mean, those are the things that we must condemn and say that is fine. But I think we must look at the circumstances when it happens to be able to understand the mindset, the thinking behind it, if the individual is going to gain individually for doing it, or was he doing it for what he felt for his people? And if you go back and look at 2014, 2018, those decisions were not done in my personal interest, because it was my personal interest. Nobody wants to leave a ruling party or even a government. So I think I hope that, you know, in a way answers your question. And let me.
I still think that a bit of that was deflected, but I'll go to Aki. I'll go to Aki. Aki, please go ahead.
Thanks, Dr. Bukola. Again, I'm sure you expected, you know, these types of questions. It's okay.
No.
Yes,
I expected them, and I've enjoyed. Honestly, I have enjoyed the time. But I would just like us to, you know, maybe another time that, you know, these issues are important, you know, for what we are going ahead in trying to build the critical mass for what we want to do in 2023, making the country better. But I also do understand that, of course, as a leader in this country politically, people want to know also one's mind and thoughts, and I also agree with that, and that's why, you know, I do my best to try and answer the questions.
We'd love to have you back. But
I will come back. I'm definitely going to come back. I'm
one
going to
question
come
from
back.
me, if you don't mind, sir.
Yeah, I'll take your question from you. Go ahead.
All right. So, you know, talking, you know, you just referenced your thoughts, and I think for many of us, we'd like to know your position on issues that affect young Nigerians. You were one-time governor, or let me say two-time governor. You equally, you know, had the third highest position in the land. Obviously, you know, many of us on stage here were very active in the NSAS protest, one which many of us walk around with. There's a lot of animosity towards the establishment. Obviously, I don't need to go into details of 2020. Young Nigerian lives were lost. I think many of us have roles to play in society, activism, people going to politics, NGOs, people going to civil service. We all have our different stratas where we can all be good citizens in a quest for a great country. When you look back at the NSAS protest, obviously we still have the pending judicial panel report, Lagos State and many other states where young Nigerian lives are lost. We still have issues bordering police reform that's yet to be addressed as part of the 5 for 5. Equally, you can say that many times the wheel of justice turns pretty slow. Policy action from Senate, from the House of Assembly, again, does not really impress us as Nigerians. But you're seeing young Nigerians taking action to the streets and calling for reform. And through their action, we saw a speedy passage of the Police Reform Act, which again called for increase in police wages, training. We saw, you know, the panels across the country address these issues. As a leader, as a one-time Senate president, and as a previous state governor, you look at the events from October 2020, how would you have reacted again? And today, looking at where you stand from a vantage point, being part of the political establishment, the PDP, what's your party's position on those issues? And will you be promising young Nigerians as an opposition, you know, member saying, if we were even given a chance, or based on what we think today, these are things we would do differently? I want to hear your thoughts, sir.
Thank you. I, like most people, you know, that expressed their views at that time. I was not in the country at that time. I expressed my views very strongly, disgusted about what happened, you know, very sympathetic to what happened. And it could have been avoided, definitely avoided. Look, democracy is about people expressing their views. And when people who are unarmed come out and protest, we must listen. We have to listen. Okay, I was in the National Assembly Senate president. If you go and check, every week, people were organizing protests against me. Every week, it was all organized. But I'll come out of my office and I'll go and receive them and talk to them. And because I understand that is what democracy is about. I don't need to say what will happen in our PDP. It is what PDP believes in. That is the whole point, a properly, fully democratic party. And that is what I believe in. My antecedent has shown it that we must engage. We must engage and listen to voices. That is inclusion. That is democracy. And if people, and that is part of the process. People must speak. It's not about what we want. People were elected. We must listen. And to say to listen or for people to express their views is wrong. This is not about election. And you see, it's always very difficult to speak your mind now because, you know, people are so skeptic that maybe it's because but I think we should look at our antecedents and look at how consistently we have been in the past. And one of the few that when it happened at that time, strokes very strongly and said, no, we can't, this is wrong. And so I want to assure you that in my party, in the party that I play a key role in, this kind of event can never happen. It's not that we will not have protests. It's not that we will not have issues or different, but we will converse. We will engage in a modern society and democratically. I can reassure you, I can never be part of that kind of situation that will do that. And in the National Assembly, in the Senate, we always made sure that, you know, we made ourselves available to be able to address this. I know very well that if I had been in National Assembly at that time, I'm sure the role will have played have been very, very different, because we're shown consistently that we're an independent arm of government, and we're an arm of government that was ready to hold government accountable. And it is lack of, and sometimes, you know what, it is lack of not holding government accountable that allows people to look to other ways of expressing their unhappiness. And in those days, people used to come to National Assembly to complain on one of this issue, and I remember then we would summon different agencies and engage them. And I guess when people are lost, when you talk about this police reform bill, go and check the record. I passed that bill in 8. We passed it. The police reform bill had been around for a long time, I think over 10 years. The new IG got appointed. I think that was IG Adamu. He came to my office and he said, sir, I said, what can we do for you? He said, there's a police reform bill that's been there for years. We took it out. In months, we passed that bill. Unfortunately, like most of those times, it was not ascended because one excuse or the other. If you look at the bill that we passed and the final bill that was passed, I think there's only one section that is different. So some of these things we had attended to and we addressed them. So if I say them now, I'm not saying them now because the election is around the corner. I'm saying them now because that has been one's antecedent, and that is what I've done in the past. That is what I believe in, and I strongly believe in that. If you look around from time I was governor to being in the Senate, majority of the people that work with me are young, are the youth. I'm surrounded by a lot of them, so a lot of the younger ones. So it's again, I feel very passionate because I believe that the future of this country, they have the future of the country. Now I know a lot of politicians now, everybody say, youth, any small center, youth. I think Nigeria should not look by what we say, but what we do and how we act. And our records are there to show how all of us engage now. So for a man who has always been surrounded by youth, I think if I'd been in government at that time, definitely it's not, I cannot be part of that kind of situation where, unfortunately, what we saw in October. And I want to reassure you and reassure leaders that PDP and parties that people like ourselves are part of would not, because we'll listen, we'll engage, and we'll find a way forward. And
all right, sir. I'm so sorry to cut you. I know he has to go. Hold on, ma'am. Hold on, ma'am.
So I honestly, I was told that this was a 1 hour program. It's now 1 hour 30 minutes. So
it's actually a 1 hour. It's actually a 1 hour program.
Rinu, there's a correction that needs to be made.
If you mind,
there's a correction that needs to be made, Rinu. There's a correction that needs to be made. If I can make that correction.
Madam Aisha, just hold on a second, man. Let me just finish, and then we speak to Dr. Bukola, and then you could ask that question quickly because he has to go.
I'm not asking a question, Olomo. I'm not asking a question. I'm making a correction, and it has to do with what you have said.
Just 20 seconds, man. Go ahead, man. 20 seconds quickly.
Okay, I was part of Open NAS when it happened, Open NAS protest, and Dr. Saraki never came out to address us. We spent days there, and we had to call off the protest because just like what happened in NSAS, people had come to remove the cameras. And we as leaders of that protest, of the Open NAS protest, decided that something could be done at night and anything can happen. And we had to stop that protest on that day. I just needed this to be made clear. Thank you.
Can I just reply that? Please, You keep on talking about open. The records are there. NASU's open. So I mean, please go and check the
No, I
records.
said
I mean, I can
occupy
send the
mass.
records.
Sorry,
I
not
can
open
send the
mass.
records to
Occupy
Rano.
mass.
I mean,
No,
you
Madam
can check.
Aisha,
So that I
let
mean,
him speak,
these
please.
are facts.
Please, hold on, sir. Hold on, sir.
Yeah.
One of the actual rules of this room when we started was a lot of decorum and let us give each other spaces, to talk. It's highly important, please. So please, sir, I wanted to ask for 2 minutes of your time, but then it seems like we're overtaking because there are actually 3 hands raised up, which can I ask a question in like 1 minute, and then you can go. Because I know I have taken, I've taken a lot of your time. I apologize for that. It's supposed to be 1 hour, and then you've taken over 30 minutes. So can I ask you for 2 minutes, sir?
Can I? Because if you don't mind, honestly, because I'm also meant to be. I'm in a committee right now. I just took time off to do this, and we're meant to make a presentation at 12 o'clock tomorrow. Honestly, you can send it to me, and I can reply on my Twitter handle. And honestly, otherwise, I've kept people wait. I told them I'm only going to be away for an hour, and I'm out of those meant to be submitting a report tomorrow. So honestly, I really appreciate it. I thank you for allowing me to come. Just send it to me, and I promise you I'll be back. So it's the first time I'm on. I'm sure we'll have many opportunities again. I want to thank you very much for this opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming, sir. Rinu, go ahead.
Yes, I'll just say thank you again for coming. For your team asking for you to come up on this space, and I'm glad that I didn't reject the request. Thank you again, and it will be nice, to have you on the space. If you have any questions, like Dr. Kola said, please tag him, and he'll be, happy or glad to reply to those questions. We'll be moving on to the third segment of the conversation. I hope I'm not keeping you guys waiting. Dr. Kola, do you have anything to say? I always give each speaker something, a minute. If you have anything to say, please go ahead. If not, let's move on to the next conversation. Yeah, like I said earlier, this space is being sponsored by House of Lunette. So visit www.houseoflunette.com and buy out their goods. It's been a heated, session. But then this is another heated conversation. Nigerian political parties. Are they really for us? Are they really for the people? Should we just have, these alternatives that we've been talking about? And I have 2 people from the popular ruling class, that are yet to speak on that particular topic. I have one of the speakers. I don't know, he just dropped off again on the space. And I have the other speaker. I have one speaker from the APC party, and I have another speaker from the PDP party. So this is somewhat of a debate, and you can ask questions as well in this space. I'm sure that this is going to be really heated, and I'm trying also to get the other speaker to come on board. But then, Uyomo, do you want to say something now? Uyomo is not there. I don't know what to call you. I always ask my speakers because that's quite important. But then your username, Dawisu, what do we refer to you as? What can I call you? Or what do people in this space call you?
Dawisu now. Dawisu is the name.
All right. Welcome. Aki, is it possible we get the other speaker for tonight? Just quickly run into the conversation. I can't seem to find him. So please, Dawisu, can you introduce yourself to the audience?
So before Dawisu goes on, Ilemana, if you can leave the space and then come back in so that we can try to bring you up. We have a ton of requests. Obviously, I think we've shattered, Twitter Spaces record. Great job, Rinu, and all of the other hosts. But Ilemana, please leave and come back so I can get you up on stage. Thank you. Dawisu, go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't get that. What am I?
Yeah, go ahead. Introduce
Can you come again?
Just introduce yourself. Yeah.
Okay. All right then. All right. Good evening, everyone, and thanks for staying up almost 3 hours now, from 7 p.m. up until now. Thank you very much for sparing your time to be here. Thank you very much, Rinu, for putting and Akin for putting this up. My name is Salu Tamkaya Kasai, Twitter known as Dawisu or Peacock. I'm from Kano, an active grassroots politician, consultant by profession. I'm also into community development work. And my last position was the special advisor media to the governor of Kano State. That was about a year ago. And I believe that's that, right?
All right, so can I say you've always been a member of the All Progressive Party, party, or you've at one time defected or something? I just wanted to get that.
No, I'm one of the founding members, if I can put it that way, of APC. I came in from CPC. We were in CPC, and then from there we merged with other parties to form the APC. So I'm still in APC. I've never decamped to any other party since joining APC. So yeah.
All right, thank you. I'm trying to ask. I don't know. I can't find my other speaker. I just can't find my other speaker. But then one question. We've seen, like, you've been in the news for a lot of things. I mean, well, political figures can be quite dramatic as well. And one of the questions I have been itching, to ask was when you were in the news. I mean, I think you had an issue with your party regarding, I'm not sure, but then you had an issue with your party that led you, I think we're trending free that we saw then. I'm not quite sure. Could you explain a bit of that scenario? Did you hear me, or can I hear me?
I can hear you, Reno, and I know the servers are quite unstable right now, so
yeah,
he may just have network issues. He's okay. He got dropped. He's requested again, so we'll bring him up. So I'm reconnecting that with you. Still trying to get Ilemona again. I think his network is not so stable, so we'll keep trying. But Dawis, if you're back on, okay, it's gonna take a few seconds here. Maybe he can hear us.
Yes,
Dawis, you're back.
Yes, I'm back.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Can you take the question again?
I was asking about you were recently in the news about some drama about what you did in the All Progressive Congress and all of that led to. I just knew you were trending, and we had to trend through that we saw something, and I can't quite remember that scenario. So I just wanted you to just explain what happened there.
It wasn't a party affair per se. What actually transpired was the kidnapping of about over 300 young girls at Tegina, that's in Niger State, that were kidnapped by bandits. And it was on that issue that I expressed my personal opinion. This is because a number of times kidnapping of young girls, particularly girls in northern Nigeria across different states, I felt as a father of two daughters, I positioned myself as one of the fathers of these girls, and thought of what they were going through, and I realized that no, that is not the right thing to do. The government should ensure that each and every child in this country, and they should ensure that schools are safe places for kids to go to. And at that time I remember
I'm not sure.
So let's see.
No. Spaces 2023 elections. Yes, we can hear you. That we so hold on. You can tweet with Reno Spaces 2023 elections, and are glad to answer the questions. Go ahead, Lucy.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay, I should go on.
You dropped off, right?
Okay, I'm back. So as I was saying, I could relate to what was happening as a father, and I realized that something has to be done, because we can't keep having kidnappings and all those things, and nobody is getting those elected with the responsibility with issue statement, whether the presidency or the governors of the states responsible, and it became a cycle, and I felt I had to voice my personal opinion on that, and I did, and I have no regrets over that, and so that's what transpired.
Okay, Aki, the mic is yours. Go ahead.
Yes. All right. Great. So, Dawisha, thanks for coming on. Obviously, you're very outspoken. You are equal Twitter influencer. You've got the blue tick. So I think it's only right that I attach the word influencer to your profile. But again, as we try to get Ilemana up, we don't want to make it one-sided. I've got a few questions for you, and that's given the fact that you are part of the ruling party, obviously a party that came to power on the, again, I'll say, support and frustrations of Nigerians against the then establishment party, PDP. A lot of promises that were made. Again, nobody's going to sit here and tie you down to the record of the president, in Aso Rock. But again, as a party member, as a young Nigerian, as one that is equally tech-savvy, outspoken, and equally has a vision to see a Nigeria that works for you, whatever the blueprint looks like. Saying to you, on this forum, Twitter Spaces, just coming from a blackout of 6 months where Twitter was banned by the establishment, again, which you're ruling, your party, again, is at the helm of affairs. As you talk about political ideology, APC, what it stands for, as a young Nigerian, and equally the fact that you mentioned that you're a part of the founding membership, what does APC stand for? And I say this because there are many people that just have some level of animosity towards one party or the other. But to many people in the room, if they are thinking about joining politics, as you heard me cry, or go join APC, make sure you're participating, again, we have ideologies. Are there things that make APC attractive? Looking at the record for the past 7 years, what makes APC that party that you would invite someone to come join? And let's talk about the policies as they affect young people.
So thank you very much for that question. And I think honestly, if you ask me, for both parties, both the APC and the PDP both have on paper they both have ideologies, but I think where the problem lies is in terms of the implementation of these ideologies, their manifesto, and what they stand for. So you realize that almost all the two parties, when it comes to implementation of their policies, they tend to derail from that. All the promises that they do during the campaign season, trying to get elected, once the opportunity comes, they don't stick to that. And I think this is where the problem is. So the problem for me, I think it's the people that are driving this. How many of them have the same vision with their own parties? As an APC member, I know what we have campaigned for. I know all the things that we promise Nigerians, and I know, with the exception of probably the infrastructure, that's practically the only area I can give my party APC, a very good mark. But other areas that we campaign for, the economy, we talked about security. Of course, in the security, you can say the party has done well in terms of Boko Haram, containing Boko Haram. But we have a bigger evil now, which is kidnapping and banditry, that has engulfed a bigger section of.
Okay. Aki, can you hear me?
I can hear you, and I think we lost him there for a second. So he might be having incoming calls or something. Dawis, are you back?
No, I am on. I didn't leave.
Yeah,
Okay.
you went mute for about 3 seconds, but continue. Go ahead.
Yeah, so as I was saying, a number of the key things that we campaigned with, we have not really achieved it as a party. Like I said, it's only infrastructure that will give very high mark for our party as a government. And these are the issues. So for me personally, I think the focus should be on the individuals, because if the vehicles that get people into positions of authority, are not being their manifestos are not being abided by, that means we have to focus on the leadership of the party. We have to focus on those that get elected, and we have to focus on people that we appoint. So it's a holistic thing that we need to look into, and get people that are competent, people that are qualified, people that have the vision, because some of them do not have the vision of where we are going, and this is what is leading us to where we are today. So for me personally, one of the things that one of the decisions that I've taken for 2023 is we have to look for good, competent, quality candidates, particularly from the younger generation. If 70% of the population of Nigeria, 200 million people, are younger people, why are we not getting the best of us to unite, organize, and coordinate ourselves and see that we push them to position of authority? Why are we not doing that, irrespective of the party that we belong to? I belong to APC, some people belong to PDP. Why can't the younger people in these parties come forward, mobilize themselves, organize, coordinate, and take over? We have positions that are coming up, elective, the convention of the APC is coming up at the end of this month. How many young people are going for different positions in the party? Why don't we have a young person vying for the position of the chairman of APC? I clapped very well and applauded the PDP for giving that young man the PDP position, the youth leader of the party. And I am hoping that APC as well, when it comes to at the convention ground, a young person, under 40, will get the seat of the youth leader. So these are the issues that we need young people to understand and realize that if we don't do it now, when are we going to do it? As I'm talking to you now, I'm 46 years old. I'm already, I don't want to be 60 and still struggling, trying to do all these things. I want to rest. At 55, hopefully I want to rest and be with my family and spend the rest of my life, if I live long enough, to relax and enjoy with my family. So we have to start now. We cannot keep allowing things that divide us to continue to divide us, and allow some people, particularly the elites, the older generation, to use that against us and divide us and continue to dominate us politically, in all spheres of our engagement. So I think this is the problem. It's not just the manifestos of these parties, but the individuals that are manning positions, both at the political parties and as well as elected and appointed positions.
All right, thanks for that. So I want to have Ilemona up here because obviously, there are a few things you would mention that for him as a PDP member would, probably take, some, issues with. But again, apologies. Was you trying to get Ilemona up? You said
I'm trying to get him
earlier.
up. While we're trying to get him up, I saw someone hands up. Is he?
So that's Dipo.
Ife?
Was it?
No, I think there were hands raised up. Is he Ife? Ife, do you want to go? Do you have any questions? Ife, Tolu, and Olayinka, their hands were raised up before we came back. Okay, if they're not, let's go to Dipo. Thank you.
Okay, so I just wanted to quickly ask Dawisu a question. So these same things that Dawisu is complaining about and speaking about today were the same things some of us were speaking about in 2017 and 2018 when citizens were being butchered and murdered in Benue State, in Kaduna State, and in some part of northern part of the country. Dawisu, what exactly has changed? Thank you. So Dawisu, the question is 2017, 2018, when some of us were criticizing the killings, the butchering of citizens in Benue, in Kaduna, in Nasarawa, and other parts of the northern part of the country. And folks like you branded us bigots, tribalists, haters, and all sorts of names. And today, here you are agreeing with some of the things that some of us have said 3-4 years ago in 2017 and 2018. What exactly has changed, Dawisu?
I'm not sure that we heard. Can anyone hear me? Aki, can you hear me? Is my network?
Yeah, so he got moved down to the audience again. I'm bringing him back.
He's
up.
back. He's back.
Okay.
Yes. So if I get it right, Dipo is asking what has changed from the 2017-18 that he mentioned, and then after that. Well, now, first of all, let me tell you that Dipo, I am known to be an somewhat opinionated person, so I do not hide my opinions. I share them. I speak out on any issue that I feel affects the generality of Nigerians. And you, this is one of the problems I have with the younger generation: the personalized issues. And if I can tell you that this your question is personalized because of a personal tweet you mentioned, which I said you are a bigot, and do not take that to put it across board and feel as if my personal relationship with you should be the basis of engagement or the basis of moving this country forward collectively together. Let's put our differences aside. And I did not wait. I did not shy away from expressing my opinion on personal issues, on issues that border around security, particularly security in this country. I've been speaking. It wasn't the first time, and I feel I owe it. I owe it to Nigerians to add my voice, because I have a platform. I use this platform to move a lot of causes, and I feel this is the best that I can do, irrespective of whether I have a personal problem with you or not. That's not the issue. The issue is I add my voice on a lot of these issues, and a lot of people can testify to that. So don't use one incident to rubbish or to make it look as if we have not contributed our quota in speaking out, even though I belong to a party. I belong to the ruling party. How many people have done that? You tell me. How many people have had the courage to do that? And I'm not doing it because I want to make a name, because I feel now that we are in the government is the right time to tell the government to do the right thing. Why do I have to wait till I leave government and become one of the politicians or leaders of this country that always find their voice after they leave office? I believe this is the right time to tell them to do the right thing, so that at least we can salvage whatever is left for this the lifespan of this administration. So that's what I have to say to that.
Well,
So if you don't mind, can I ask one more question, please?
Please go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I've spoken to some of your very close friends who are also my very close friends, Salihu, Dasuki, and a couple of other people, and I've told them that, see, I absolutely have nothing against Dawisu. You flew to Lagos to attend an event that I hosted, and the second time, you said no. Now that you actually agree with some of the things that, some of my own criticisms then, would you apologize? And do you now agree that my position then was not out of tribalism, it wasn't out of bigotry, and it wasn't out of hatred for either Buhari or for the North? Now that you see that those security issues are serious issues, way back, perhaps you didn't realize it, or you wanted to give Buhari a couple of more months or more years to see how he's going to perform. And now that you've actually come and see things the way some of us saw it in the past, do you have any apologies to offer, Dawisu?
Well,
Again, you are personalizing this.
If I comment in that regard, hold on, Dawisu, and I'm not speaking for anybody, but then I very much think that we should also depersonalize discussions in this space, exactly as it could deter a lot of other people, from deciding to come up on the space to speak. The space is about 2023 elections, that's gotten, but then let's try as much as possible to depersonalize the questions and discussions. That if you want to go ahead, please do so. But then the conversation is getting really, really personal, and we should try and keep it, professional. Thank you. I think that Dawisu dropped off, and I'm trying to add him back. Is Lemon still here?
I've added him already. No.
All right. I can't see Lemon now. I think he dropped off again.
Yeah. Sorry. Good evening. And just to respond to a part of what he has said, which is allowing or giving a little space to see if the government would do something differently. And one of the things that I said was, we have been calling for the change of the service chief back then, and it didn't happen. And after the service chiefs were changed, we hoped these things will see a different approach. And I even uploaded the new service chiefs, when they started doing things differently. But few months into that was when some of this happened. So yeah, at every point in time, you have to try and give a little space and benefit of the doubt for those in power to settle down and understand the situation before you can begin to criticize them. I've been in government, and I know that what we see from the outside is completely different from what we see in what actually goes on in the inside. So sometimes we give people that benefit of the doubt, that little chance to prove themselves right or wrong before we condemn or attack them.
Thank you very much. Not liking how the discussion is one-sided. So Akin, can you please get our other speaker on board, to also take his questions? But then, Lamaisha, please go ahead.
Lamaisha Bari, Aisha Yusufu, so.
Thank you so much. I don't know why you call me Aisha Bari all the time.
My apologies.
Okay. Thank you very much. Quickly for me is to say that as citizens, we do not owe government any room for doubt, and we should all understand that. And it's very okay when one person's is not waiting to give government leeway and continue to make demands the first day. It's okay when some people make demands the last day. It's all okay. What we must never do as citizens is attack each other over government. At the end of the day, the issue of bad governance affects us all. For me, what is most important here is for me to say, what are the youth of APC, PDP, YPP, ADC, all of that, or the younger, or not necessarily youth, because when you're in your 40s, you're no longer youth or late 30s, but the much younger candidates, what are they doing to be able to hold those older candidates that have formed, some of them since 1960 or in their 1970s or whatever, before a lot of most people here were born, who have held this nation to ransom, and they're continuing to do that. What are you doing to come together? Forget your differences, put it aside. You all have the same common problem where they are not giving you voices, they are not allowing you a party ticket, they are not allowing you representation, they're only using you for SS jobs and all of that. And the youth are actually the ones who really do the work in these parties. What are you doing to be able to come together, work together, and then give a united front to these parties to say, if you don't give us A, B, C, D, if you don't do this is what we are going to do. We're not going to support you. We're not going to go after and work for you and all of that. For me, I want to see a situation whereby youth from different parties, instead of this antagonism that have been going on since 2015, hating each other, attacking each other, fighting each other, do the same thing that they do. The way Buhari and Jonathan will sit down and sip tea, sit down on the table and sip tea, bring out your plan and negotiate with these people. What are you doing? Thank you.
Well, what are you doing? I don't understand. Maybe are you talking about me personally or the younger generation? If you can clarify on that.
No, not you personally. I'm talking about the youth in these parties.
So I can tell you,
PDP, YPP, and all that.
I understand. I understand. So I can tell you what they are not doing because I don't see, even if they are doing anything, I don't see it. I don't hear about it. You know, of course, maybe you can have one or two um, groups or individuals doing one or two good things, but they're operating in a silo. So I don't know what they are doing because I'm not seeing it. But I can tell you that
Okay, I guess the network went off a bit. Dawishi, can you hear me? Ulomo, confirm.
Yeah, I
Is
can
it
hear
my
you. I can
network?
hear you. I can hear you. I think
Okay.
Mr. Dawiti's network.
I'm still on.
Yeah, go ahead, sir. Go
Hello?
ahead, sir. Yeah, go ahead, sir. Go ahead, sir.
Hello?
Mr. Dawishi, go ahead. Go ahead, sir. We can hear you, sir.
Okay, I'm not, I don't know if you can hear us. If you can hear us, please confirm. If not, try and come back to the space. I'm glad to accept. But then I think Ilemona is here. Can you hear me? Please confirm if you can.
Yeah, finally, Rinu and Ulomo and Akin. Good evening, everybody. I can hear everybody. Finally.
Okay, thank you for joining us. Can you introduce yourself, please?
My name is Ilemona Onoja. I am a commercial solicitor. Pretty much that's pretty much it. I'm a public affairs analyst. I like to speak about things that go on in our country and to try to offer unique perspectives in seeking solutions to sometimes complex and other times simple problems. I'm a member of the PDP. I've never held government office before. I'm very pleased after
Lagos, you can ask a question about that. I apologize. I'm not trying to gag anybody. Toye, go ahead.
Thank you, Renu. I'm going to say thank you to both Renu and Aisha. Aisha actually started that thought process for me, and this is my contribution and my question to everybody. Can we come together as youths and rally around an ideology that fits on our collective identity rather than our ethnic diversity or rather than our individual interest as youths of this nation, and respect each other's decision as to which political party you want to be affiliated with. But yet, we agree that we want to develop as a nation. We want to be because I'm seeing something going on with the youth of this nation. This divisive thing is so, because there's a lot of bitterness around, a lot of bickering. And like you rightly pointed out when Aisha was talking, that we see the likes of the Jonathan and the Buhari sit down and judge all together. They come together when their interest is in alignment. What I'm saying is we all love Nigeria. We all want to see Nigeria transformed. We all want to see Nigeria change. We want to see corruption end. But I will respect Aisha's opinion. I will respect Deepa's views. I respect Dawisu's views any day, anytime. But whilst those issues are there, while those differences are there, can we identify what our collective identity should be as a nation, where we develop and we begin to champion a national vision, a national agenda and begin to put that at the forefront such that those who want to run for political offices will be measured by that standard. But that standard of requirement of the kind of leader that we want to see, or the kind of leadership system that we want to see. Because when people emphasize on the leader who wants to take over office in 2023, my focus is beyond 4-year tenure or 8-year tenure of an individual. I'm looking at a leadership system, a leadership structure where we checkmate and bring into accountability and transparency every process and system in governance. And we can come to the table to discuss how to move our country forward, irrespective of our political affiliation. I will respect anyone's political affiliation any day and depersonalize the issue, but focus on what is the strategy. What's our 5-year strategy? What's our 20-year strategy? What's our 30-year strategy? What's our 50-year strategy that we can pull together and begin to push policies through the Senate? We begin to push amendments. For example, one of the major problems that will bring about progress to this country is the Procurement Act. Can we have a set of professionals come together? We pull resources together. We review the procurement process. The land use system is also there. That's another major area that is going to birth development in this nation. The other side is the development of fintech, so that we bring all those issues into the forefront of the conversations we are going to be having towards 2023. And we begin to develop policies and begin to exchange ideas with aspirants who are going to the office, into various offices, and begin to checkmate them by these ideas, these policies, these programs, these developmental strategies holistically in such a way that we can measure them with it and go to town and let Nigerians see them for who they are beyond the rhetoric they're talking about. I think that's
All right,
just my
so
contribution. Thank you.
You say a lot of English though. Please try to be breaking it down for some of
Can I
us.
quickly respond to that?
Please, I don't think that was a question, but go ahead.
Well, it's not a question, it's a thought process. And on the surface, it sounds very nice, very egalitarian to point and say, we shouldn't personalize these issues and we should adopt the Jonathan and the Buhari approach of sitting down to have a conversation. The thing is, we're not Jonathan and we're not Buhari. The issues that face us as common citizens, they don't face those issues. The issues of lack, of want, of poverty, of a rising cost of living, of insecurity, they don't face those issues. They don't. If there's anything, I think that one of the things is that we don't take the things that our political class do wrong to us, the things that the ruling party do wrong to us, we don't take them personal enough. If there's anything that I think that we should learn, is to actually take them a little bit more personal. I mean, it's us, it's our lives that are on the line. It's our parents that are getting kidnapped, our brothers, our sisters, our younger ones. It's our jobs that are being lost. It's the value of our currency that is disappearing. It's our inability to provide for ourselves on a day-to-day that is worsening. What can be more personal than that? What can be more personal than robbing a person of the dignity of having to be able to provide for himself and for his family? What can be more personal? Really? As a woman, what can be more personal than the denial continually of participation? Really, as a young person who struggles, your government is not creating jobs and you're struggling to succeed in spite of government, and government is continually following you and clamping down on you and reducing your ability to make progress. What can be more personal than that? The problem is we do not often enough identify the people whose interests align with our personal interests and promote those people. These decisions are personal. The consequences of our decision to participate in political processes or not are personal. The consequences of voting for people or not are personal. They are very, very, very personal. And I think that if we take that approach of, oh, it's not personal, that's where we lose it. It's a personal it's a personal choice. The consequences will meet us personally on the roads, in the markets, in our offices, in our homes. We need to take them personal.
Well, I know, I understand that, I started place you're coming from. And you're right when you say it's personal for many of us. But then don't you think that your party got us into this situation that we found ourselves in the first place? And this is to Limona.
No, I don't think so. We must always remember Nigeria did not start in 1999. Nigeria as a country did not begin to exist in 1999. Nigeria has existed for decades before that. What that meant was that at the time we inherited this country, it was a pariah in the world. It's become a pariah in the world again. It was economically in the doldrums. Socially, I mean, our people still bear the effects and the consequences of military rule. So we received a country that was literally on its knees, and we had to bring it back up. Now, whenever I tell people that PDP provided good governance, they make a mistake and think that I mean that PDP provided perfect governance. Of course not. There were mistakes that were made. There were things that ought to have been done that were not done. There were
Mistakes
things
to the
that
lives of people. If
I
we
would
remind
respond.
ourselves,
I would respond. I'm responding. Allow me to respond to your question. There were mistakes that were made. There were things that ought to have been done that were not done. There were things that ought not to have been done that were done. But the assessment always has to be, was the quality of life better in 2015 when PDP handed over to APC than it was in 1999 when PDP received the country from the military? The answer is inevitable yes. The answer, let me give you one example, Rinu, and I'll ask a question that follows right with it. The ability to be able to do this, where thousands of people spread across the world having this conversation, thousands of people in Nigeria spread across the country having this conversation. And that is tied to a policy that was passed and implemented by the PDP commencing in 1999. It's very easy to be able to say that. Do we think, owing to the fact to his antecedents over the last 7 years, do we think that General Buhari would have implemented these policies, the policies around telecommunications and technology? Do we think he even understands it enough to be able to say that he would have enacted the policies and implemented them? The answer is no. We probably would have still been struggling in a stone age where we don't have access to technology in this manner, where we don't have access to freedom in this manner. That the fact that we're able to have this conversation on here from a person who sought to ban it in the first place, when Dawisu says that we are united together in both parties not following their ideologies, I beg to disagree. My party follows the ideology that it preaches. That's the reason why we're even able to. And using this one example, that's the reason why we promulgated the policies that brought us here in the first place. Could PDP have done better? There's always headroom for improvement. Always. There will never be perfect governance. Your question is that your governance should continually be better than the one that it was before.
Hold on. On
Yes,
that
please.
point, could they have done better? I mean, politicians always say this, right? We could always have done better. We know we are going to improve and all of that. But hold on the thought. Madam Aisha, please come in. You've been raising up your hand. Aisha there.
Oh, hello.
All
Okay.
right, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much. I think what I wanted to say, I think the speaker that spoke last and said that citizens should be uniting on ideology. That was just what I wanted to reinforce. That's very important. All of this divisiveness is not getting the nation anywhere, and I think it's not really truthful when PDP try to extricate themselves and come out that when they say it's not a perfect leadership and all of that. 2015, I mean, there were a lot of things. 2013, 14, 15 that were going on, and this is not the space for it to begin to talk about this. And when I see, members of these parties come out and just try to deny the things that happen, or just gloss over them, or just say that no, it isn't what it is. But one thing I just want to say is that we should not be focused on, and I will say this, PDP and APC are the same. That's my opinion. And we should not be focused on whether somebody is in APC
or PDP. The main thing that we should be focusing on is that what kind of candidates are there? Every of these parties, they have competent candidates, and they are not giving Nigerians competent candidates because Nigeria hasn't given them the incentive to do so. What we must be doing is how can we put the fire in the feet of whether it's APC, PDP, whatever it is, so that they will give their most credible candidates, their most competent candidates. It's not the party per se. It's the people that are being put forth to represent these parties. And if we do not come together and have that united voice to demand for competent candidates, then we continue to put in those that they know they can control. And instead of us having competent candidates, we'll be busy choosing over who is the less of the evil. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. And on that, I'm trying to add that we should, because I don't want this to be a one-sided conversation. Chuma Amobi, can you go ahead, sir?
All right. Thank you, Reno. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Nigerians. So I think I'll just take off from where Aisha stopped, because Aisha just spoke my mind, and that is what has been bothering me. Looking forward to the 2023 election, the fact that both parties, be it APC, be it PDP, can boast of very credible and competent leaders. But when you look at the pool and names being mentioned, it begs for questioning as to we as a nation, what we want and how we want to, go forward from where we are. And the question is, I hear every time about, the parties, the competent ones, in those parties not being so popular, I won't be able to, clinch the primaries at the end of the primaries, getting the ticket, the presidential ticket. So I think the question for us as Nigerians, or the question for us as youth, is how do we change that notion? How do we change that motion? How do we, see or enforce or force these parties to field the most competent people with clear track record? I'm a PP member, carrying PDP member. So the focus has always been, how do we get the most competent ones? Let's leave aside people who have the popularity or who can win some number of states. I think the question of what we should be deliberating on is how do we force these parties to have and to field the most competent and the most credible ones. So I think that's the question every one of us should live with as we look forward to the 2023. So I really want to thank Aisha for reinforcing the fact that these parties are very credible and competent people. So why are they giving us the worst of them? So that's the question. Why are they giving us the worst of them? Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I guess that question is directed to both Dawisu and Ilemono. Since Dawisu is back, would you answer that question? Why is the current political party that you are in now giving us the worst candidates that can ever imagine, when you could literally give out the best?
So I have two things to add on this question, and I think it is somewhat related to what Aisha was speaking to the question that Aisha asked before my network went bad. And I think the first thing is that why do we always have to wait until it is handed over to us? Why?
Are you directing that question to me or the audience? Okay, Ulomo, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm just sending a link to Elioma so he can come on, because it says he's on board now, but I can't find him on the platform. And let Chimaka go. Chimaka Okafo, go ahead, Mike.
Chiamaka.
It's a Chiamaka Okafo. Sorry, my apologies. The mic is yours. Go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you guys for putting this here. So a few comments here and there. Just to start with saying that I think Illumina said something about we not taking issues personal enough, and that's why we're where we are. And then he went on to talk about how great his party is, and of course, like Rinu rightly said, there's always room for change. That's a convenient out for all of our political parties and politicians. But I like to say that we as Nigerians are we're comfortable in the barest minimum we are getting and giving. And then we always run to, oh, there's space for improvement. I mean, there's never space for improvement while in government. Space for improvement only comes when you're out of government, and then of course we could have improved and done better. So just to join my voice to echo that, bickering and all of that doesn't get us anywhere. We need to understand that political participation is beyond sitting on the timeline and antagonizing each other for deciding to engage political actors and getting into politics ourselves. So we need to decide what we want to do. I mean, because if we continue this way, then we're going to sit in this rat hole for as long as possible. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, I got disconnected and
Are
I'm
we
back.
through?
Yes,
Yeah,
I got
please.
disconnected. So I'm just asking us, not wanting an answer, but generally asking, why are we not organizing ourselves in these parties that we have? Like Asha has been mentioning, why can't we come together? Because we are the agents on election day. We are the ones that are campaigning for these people. We are the ones that are doing all the dirty work. So why is it that we will not do it for ourselves? You understand? If we unite today and say, okay, this is who we want, and this so position, there's nothing they can do. If we identify young people, and this is something that I usually do. I looked at people that are good, irrespective of the party that they belong to, and I support them. You understand? And I praise them publicly so that we encourage them to do what is needed. So I think the first step is those in APC, the good ones, come together, work out a plan of how you can support one another. The same thing for those in PDP, the same thing in those for other political parties. Bring yourselves together, coordinate, organize. You understand? That's one aspect. Now, the second thing is that those that have gotten the opportunity and are in the system already, for instance, I think there is of young parliamentarians in the National Assembly, particularly in the House of Reps, they are already in the. We have people that have young people that have been appointed that are already in the system. I have never seen them coming together, all of them coming together to see how they can get more people. I know one or two people that are doing it behind the scenes on their own personal capacity, but to come together, everyone, whether appointed or elected, that is in the federal government or in the state government, come together under one platform and see how you can influence things, not just in the government, but also see how you can bring others like you that are competent and qualified, to come together and give their quota.
On that competency, you talk about competency and all of that, and I'm glad that we're on that particular conversation. So, currently, regarding the 2023 elections, do you think that the candidates from your party are competent? And if you think they are, can you explain for a bit? Well, that we should got dropped off again. I don't know. I think probably it's a glitch with Twitter Spaces or something. But while he's waiting to answer that question, I'll take Adekunle. Adekunle, you want to go ahead before I ask Limonad something? So Adekunle is not there. Okay.
Yeah, I'm here. Thank you for having me, and it's a great conversation with everyone here. I think on the topic, the 2023 elections, it is very important that we do more of orientation to our people, especially concerning the PVC. It goes beyond just telling them that they should get their PVC. What are they going to do with the PVC is what we should even ask, because some people are just getting the PVC, particularly to maybe use in the bank or to get their driver's license or some other things. We should clearly orientate most of our youth like us to, get a broader perspective, a broader view of the use of this PVC particularly. But if you see, even on the day of elections, most of us, I don't want you because I'm not a part. Most of the youth are always on the street playing football, while the average average Nigerian is at the polling unit voting who their candidates. And even at that point, we youth are the one that can even influence these people to vote the right candidates at the point of the election, rather than those party agents coming to, give tip most of them to vote in the election, away from just telling people to get their PVC. I think it is pertinent to also tell them what or the essence or the power that PVC holds. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. And I guess that echoes my stance on the fact that close to 80 million people over that are registered, and they've collected their PVC. And the last elections we had in the country, I think that just about 29 million or 28 million voted. So where are the 50 million people remaining? They're in their homes. People like you and me, the keypad warriors, just pressing our phones, and we're not concerned about the elections. We're not concerned about our future. But then after the deed is done, we come online and we gather to complain again for another 8 years, which is incredibly sad. So getting involved, like Adekule said, I'll pass the mic to Mr. Boris. You want to go ahead? While waiting for Dawisu, please try and join. Mr. Boris, if you're not there. Prince, no, go ahead. Okay.
I think a lot of people having network issues on tonight.
Yeah.
I think Mr. Ilya wants to speak. I think. Yeah, go ahead, sir.
A lot of interference. Please, can you come back up to the space? Prince is not there. Silent Master, please go ahead if you're not there.
Good evening, everyone. I'm here.
Go ahead.
Okay, so on this issue of 2023 elections, I'm just an ordinary citizen that has been observing the processes of our democracy for some time now. And what I want to comment on is I want to beg we, the youths. A lot of us are influencers. Like I know we got to eat, and then we need to promote one or two brands to be able to sustain our daily activities. So where I'm trying to talk about is that while you're promoting, I'm not saying we should not promote, like we're talking of competent leaders that is going to move the country forward. And most of us know a few of them in our hearts. I don't want to mention them because this is not a political space to come and say your candidate. But what I'm thinking is you can do your gigs and all that. But then can we just try and not put debt on the other person that maybe in trying to promote your own candidate, you're trying to now paint the other person black. I know it's politics and all that, but laundering people's image using false information in order to earn a living is something that I've seen over and over in different election cycles. And I'm hoping and I'm begging us young people, because we are the ones that have this social media, we are good at it, and we can actually say one thing, because so many people will have a lot of followership and all that. People will just take our word for it. So I'm begging us to try as much as we can to keep the debates civil, and then keep our promo very, very, very civil, so that, and put right information there. Say your candidate without trying to paint others black, so that others that are watching you from the timeline can be able to now make their choices right, and then be able to find out the most competent people that can serve us in this country, so that this country will move forward. Because what we have now, nobody, I'm sure, with the level of everything that's happening, nobody is comfortable with it, no matter how much you feel you're earning as a person. So let's just try as much as we can to keep our dealings civil, so that others can actually be able to differentiate within the when these things start, when people start promoting their candidates and all that.
Mr. Silence, 30 seconds left, please. I just wanted to quickly 30 seconds, please. Yeah? Go ahead.
I think he got dropped off because I can't see him on the space any longer. However, this is a platform, for all Nigerians to express their views and participate in discussions building up to the 2023 elections. I started with the conversation earlier. The space is being recorded, so if you are listening right now, you can always listen in later. For me, I think that young people like you and I need to start showing ourselves as the people who need to be making these decisions, putting our voices out here, our faces out here, and not giving up or backing down when they go and get stuff. we should have a say in how the country politics is being run. And this space is open to anyone. You and I have the freedom to ask anyone anything we want. It's a setting where everyone can present their arguments. And for candidates that are coming up on board, it doesn't imply that I support one candidate over or another. All I am doing is, some of you don't understand why I'm creating these spaces, is that I'm giving some of us who do not have a place to engage, a platform, and forcing us, helping us, to deal with people who claim that they want to serve. These people want to serve. Let us question them. And there must be a place for young people to participate in these discussions. Those who profess, those who wish to serve, those who are saying, oh, they are the right people for Nigeria currently after years of oppressions and death, then they should come and chat. This is critical for our future. We all have to be involved. Like I said again, I'm providing a forum for everyone who wants to have a meaningful discussion regarding the country's future. If you are prepared to come on this stage, then get ready to answer any questions, including the ones about you and your part in keeping Nigerians oppressed. My space or my spaces or these Twitter spaces is not for sale or for rent. If you have paid me, I don't think I'm the one you have paid. Please, you can come out and publicly say so. Like I said, this Twitter space is not for sale. Thank you. And this is an open conversation, so everybody can listen in and decide. His foundational is making me scared, but foundational Black Mirror, go on. Please go ahead. If you're not there, go ahead.
Oh, thank you. My name is actually Emmanuel Omotai, but yeah, I go by the name of that too. Yeah, I've been on this space for some time, and I've been listening to the conversation. I listened to Dr. Bukola Saraki as well. Well, I am a Nigerian, but I do not live in Nigeria. I do not live in Nigeria, and each time I get to read stuffs about Nigeria and watch the news and all of those stuffs, I'm always kind of heartbroken about the situation of things back home. I used to strongly believe in Nigeria and in the vision of Nigeria, but maybe 2-3 years ago, I just lost it all. I just want to kind of throw this out to maybe all of us on the space to kind of what are the things that can really bring hope back? Like, in as much as I'm trying to kind of lose hope on the country, a part of me is still kind of maybe it can still work or stuff like that. Of course, that's why I'm here today listening to you guys. What are the things that one should be looking forward to? How do we kind of bring hope to someone like me that's kind of hopeless about the country? What do you really want us that are really kind of far away from home? What do you really want us to do? How do you think we can contribute our quota in order to make Nigeria safe again for everyone? Not that you are here and then you want to go home and then you're scared of, oh, what about if I'm kidnapped? What about if this should happen? What about if the other one should happen and all of those stuff? Yeah, I just to throw that out here to see maybe a message of hope for people like me, because I'm kind of very, very hopeless as far as Nigeria is concerned. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for that question. I don't know who wants to answer that question, but on my hand,
Let me
I think
answer
that,
this one.
okay, Loma, go ahead.
I think it says citizen abroad, just like me. So I think that one of the best we need to do is that we all need to demand for good governance in our society. We are Nigerians, no matter where we stay. Maybe we stay home or abroad, it doesn't make any difference. Whatever has happened in Nigeria affects me and you, affects all of us. So the bottom truth is just exactly what we're doing here today. Is that citizens are demanding a better life. Citizens are demanding for good governance in our society. We're bringing our leaders to understand and listen. Before you come to become a president in Nigeria or a governor, you're going to have to come to be accountable. You have to be, transparent. You understand? So the truth is, just last year, in 2020, Nigerians in diaspora sent over $27 billion back home. So the truth is, me and you that are even abroad, we need to raise our voice and demand for a better life. So at the end of the day, no matter where we are, we're comfortable, because a better Nigeria is better for me and you. I mean, yes, we live in abroad. We're not going to be in abroad forever. So at the end of the day, just like what we say, well, I mean, a lot of us have left Nigeria, not because we hate the country, but we've left for basic amenities. Understand? So the good things we're enjoying abroad can also be enjoyed in Nigeria, and that's what we need to demand. So yeah, it's all about demanding for good governance, and it starts now. So at the end of the day, we elect the right leaders to understand who has a better, vision for a better, brighter future for Nigerians. Are you the mic?
Yeah, thank you. For me to answer that question, I don't think that I don't know if we ought to like offer each other hope. I know we can offer each other circle and all of that, but it depends on what you want to see in the country. I mean, I deal with a lot of state violence every day on my platform, a lot of extrajudicial killings, documenting. A lot of police extorted me, police harassed me, police did this, police did that, and I find it hard to deal with, the state violence, the killings in every part of the country. That is really, really depressing. I think that at times I just want to stand up and start punching the wall because I don't understand. I just ask God, why me in this country? But then I very much think that the hope that we're looking for is it ourselves. We are that savior. The fact that you and I are right now on this space, like you said, you answer part of the question, and we're still looking for that hope. You're not looking for it anywhere. It's there. You still have this. I like to say on my interviews, I think that I said it once when I was in Aisha Yusufu, that Nigerians will have this love-hate relationship with our country, right? On one hand, we're hating the country, on the other hand, we can't seem to let go. And that hope is what keeps me going. And I think what keeps you on this space, engaging in a conversation, listening as well. And we can't just deal with hope, right? We also need to back it up with actions. Back it up with PVC, back it up with our money, back it up with our energy, back it up with our voice. Like I said, back it up with people, putting our necks out here, asking the tough questions, not necessarily letting, these people go off the hook, making sure that if we are failing, we are retrying. If we're failing, we're retrying. The fact that we failed once doesn't mean that that fight has ended. And I think it's a Fanny Lou that said, she said that if I fall, I'll fall 5 feet and 4 inches forward in the fight for freedom. It's a long fight. It's a marathon and not a sprint like we always say. So I hope that offers, some succor. I think, are you back?
Yes, I am. Apologies, Reno. I am running errands mid conversation, but great insights. But again, I heard a lot of complaining. What is missing in Nigeria? What's missing in leadership? And I think to just dump the blame on either party, APC or PDP, should not be all of what we're doing. I think in previous spaces we've had here, we've talked about even smaller parties in communities across Nigeria. What would it take to elect a good local government chairman? What would it good to elect a good councillor? One that would wake up every day say, want to clean the gutters, or want to build schools, or make sure there's running water across taps, or perhaps even electricity. There are some problems. We can wake up, do NSARS and some of the other social activism work, but then there are things that affects us every day as citizens. Who's going to take up that charge? Who's going to be the fixed PHCN guy in Nigeria? The next Renu that will take up making sure that we can eliminate malaria. And I'm just saying there are many of all those problems, but then there are solutions we can all profile. Again, it doesn't only end at the ballot box as many would always claim. So I think I'd love to hear from others that are doing things, at the local level, as the point fingers at APC, at PDP. But what are we all doing as Nigerians in our own respective ways? Reno is just one person that can host spaces. Are there many other spaces going on where you're calling your uncle or your mother's sister as a commissioner or a local government chairman or House of Assembly member and asking these same pressing questions? I think these are things we need to do going into 2023. It doesn't only end on Reno spaces. So please find courage. Be that voice, be that platform, but that's all I have to add. I'll just keep listening here. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm so sad that my speakers for tonight couldn't get to have the conversation. I'm still hoping to get them back. The time is fast spent. John, network, please go ahead. Then we have Alabi Bolondro.
Yeah, Good afternoon, everybody. From my own corner, I've been in this space. I've been listening. My name is John Network. I'm a musician. My real name Oshoma Menyabo. I was born and raised in Warri, or should I say, I'm a born and raised. Uh, I'm a born and raised Warri boy, but I'm from Isako in Edo State.
Just
So
say you're a worry boy, so we'll know.
no, I still like to rep my state of origin. Both parents are from Isako. I speak the language.
Can we go straight to the point, please?
Oh yeah. What I want to say is, a lot of us have been talking about, attaining power and all that. I just wanted to draw attention to something. Since Nigerian politicians have a tendency of saying one thing during campaigns and before elections and doing another thing when they are sworn in after winning, I think it is a little bit wise if we pay a little attention to the checks of this power. I'm talking about the National Assembly because I don't think we can tolerate another 8 years of what we've been seeing since 2015. I don't know if I'm making sense. Like, if somebody win election, you know, me say they must stay there the full 8 years. We have to find a way to, should I say, call these people back or put a stop to their tenure, because I think if the Nigerian politicians, they love power so much, and I think if they know within them that if they do not deliver on election campaign promises, there will be immediate consequences. I think that may be a way of keeping them on the leash. That's what I think. So I don't know if anybody's thinking about that, because right now we're all concentrating on who's going to be the next president. Election campaign promises can sway opinions about who you intend to vote into power. But what if that person gets into power and the person decides to actually do what is in their mind and not what they said earlier? What ways are we looking at making sure that does not run an entire 8 years, like 2 years? Thank you.
Thank you, John, for that. Alabi, go ahead.
All right. Good evening, fellow Nigerians. Thank you, Rinu, for this space, and I really appreciate this platform, and it's a good thing that we are somewhat coming together to really participate in the talks or in these electoral processes. Now, the basic question I need, or what I want to say is, I think we need to also concentrate on voter education, because you see, some of us will come on this space and will speak big grammar, we'll talk all we want and suggest all the good and possible solutions to the problems in our country. But on election day, some of us still won't troop out in our numbers. We'll rather engage in something else. We'd rather just be online and be tweeting or talking. We won't actually go outside to vote, to place our thumb, to vote for our preferred candidates. Now, the issue is, how do we transfer this energy we are exhibiting online? How do we transfer it offline? How do we influence those who really go out to vote? I'm talking about the market women or those who aren't on these social media networks, the ones that are vulnerable to receiving 5,000 naira from politicians on election day. How do we educate and enlighten them on the right thing to do? Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much. We picked at 11,000 listeners tonight. I know some may be in the diaspora, some may be foreigners, but imagine 11,000 of us saying this is the direction we're going to vote in. That's going to be amazing. Yeah, that was gotten, Alabi, and thank you for that. Bruno, you want to go ahead?
Good evening, Rinu. Thank you so much for allowing me to come on this space. I just want to reiterate what the speaker just said last, especially on how do we encourage people to come out to vote. I remember the last election we had. I just want to say that I don't want us to ignore or forget about the violence that happened at polling units. There were a lot of videos surfacing and, bombs everywhere. And we saw thugs coming in, threatening lives, shooting and taking away polling boxes or balloting boxes. So I just want to ask, even if we do all these spaces, people come out to speak, people come out to air their voices, what exactly is being done about the safety of the citizens that actually show up to vote or to make that change. We saw that same safety being threatened when #NTAS came out. So we come out and speak online and everything, but when it's actually time to show up physically to make those changes, we find our lives being threatened by forces beyond our control, as our governor in Lagos State said once. So what exactly do we do at that point? We speak, but when we show up in person, how can we guarantee that our safety will be assured to us? That's just my question.
Violence and safety of voters. I'm actually going to have a space on that, I think this month. Yeah, we're going to have a space on that, but if Akin wants to answer that question, that's okay. Honorable Oguntoyibo, I'm so sad I can't have some of my speakers because there are a lot of questions for them. I have that also back, but hold on. Honorable Oguntoyibo, you want to go ahead? Okay, don't think it's there. Gospel is not there. Let's go to Governor Tapo.
I'm here. You can hear me.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, great. Thank you very much. Very interesting conversation so far all day, and I'm happy we've had this conversation. And my hope is that we'll have other top politicians, especially those the ruling parties, so that we can really, have these conversations and see how we can make progress. But just like Lemon has said at some point in his presentation, Nigeria did not start in 1999. Nigeria had been there. So many times when we tend to talk about this, because I know that most of the anger that many of us pour today in Nigeria, we look at it from the lens of what has happened in the last 7-8 years, really. Not necessarily where Nigeria was, say in 1999 or in 2015. The truth of the matter is, if the government we have in place today had not failed as woefully as it has today, and that government was even the level of the government we removed from where we were at 2015, and things were moving in the direction as 2015, we will not be where we are today, and will not be crying as we're crying today. But having said that, and having known where we are today as a country, well, I'm sure all of us have agreed that we have to make a change in 2023, and that kind of change will not be the kind of change we made in 2015 that has brought us where we are, that has brought us this much misery and pain and suffer. So as we are continuing to tell ourselves to get our PVCs and get ready to vote in 2023, I hope that as we make that vote, we are not going to vote based on any parochial sentiments. A bulk of the candidates that are out there are people we know already, and we know their capacity, we know their competence, just like the question that was asked to Senator Saraki about what he knew about Buhari and why he went ahead to vote for him. And he answered that he really thought that based on his antecedent that he was going to do well in the security and the fight against corruption. This time around, I hope that we are going to have spaces like this where we can talk with, say, an Atiku, a Tinubu, and Osibanjo, and really interrogate them and not just, wait on their rhetorics or what we believe is supposedly, what we thought they can do better, what they can do best. Because the truth is that I'm sure many people agree that if we get it wrong in 2023 again, Nigeria will literally may not, continue to exist. I made a tweet the other day and I said, the guy that is 14 years old in 2023 will be 22 by the time if the person gets getting into power those 8 years. He will be probably a full adult the time where he's supposed to form his life and his career. The woman or the man who is 40 will be 48. Now or never time in his life. So we can never afford to get it wrong in 2023. So I just want to urge us all, we've seen what this government has done. And just like Obasanjo says, we do not reinforce failure. We do not reinforce failure. I know this is not the political campaign spaces, but I just want to say this. I believe that voting this government or this party to continue in power will be real. Hello.
Is gospel still there?
Yes, I'm quickly rounding up. So I just want to say, just like Obasanjo said, that you do not reinforce failure. And my opinion is that the government and the party has failed in the last 8 years, and that voting is to continue in power will be reinforcing failure, and that we should not do that even as we move towards 2023. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gospel. So there are there's two schools of philosophy, and which I subscribe to both, regarding these conversations. One says we can't afford to get it wrong, because if we do, it can render some of us stateless. The other says let's keep fighting. Let's keep, it doesn't have to be 2023. We cannot create magic all at once. What we can do is take small steps and start counting our wins. I don't know which I'm going to fall, because the two, I think, actually matters in these conversations. Anyway, before I hold on to the mic, Yeti, are you there? Yeti is not there. Honorable Oguntoyinbo, please go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. It's been a very interesting event tonight. I just want to make some points regarding what Elemono said about that government did start in 1999 when PDP took over power. And I think if we're going to go with that assertion, that means we have been so unfair to the APC and to Muhammadu Buhari-led government because Nigeria actually did start in 2015 when APC took over power. So I think naturally I would just go with what Aisha Yusufa has advised and has exactly been portrayed by Darusu, that we need to come together as a youth to try and see if we can salvage things for ourselves. Because truly, on election day, the majority of the Nigerian youth will be seen on the streets playing football. Some of the females will rather be in a boyfriend house, wearing boxers and cooking on election day, watching movies. They will not go outside to vote. But when it comes to complaining on social media or telling them, add my ID, it is the Nigerian youth you will see at front burner. So I think it's now clear because majority of the voters, those on the voters list are supposed to be young people. We must come together as one. If we can project all these elderly people, we should be able to create ourselves. We should be able to find us one. So the idea of Benedict trying to tell somebody to apologize, taking things personal, I think we passed that stage now. What we should be looking for in 2019 is how we can have majority of the Nigerian youth at the National Assembly, because I noticed that is majorly where the Nigerian problems lies. A lot of people think the problem is in the presidency or the government of the state. No, if we have good laws and enabling environment, I think Nigeria is going to be better. So I want to advise all the Nigerian youth to make sure they go into the National Assemblies to save this country from blowing off. Thank you.
All right. On that note of Nigeria not central to the presidency or something, on your bio is Koka Aguda, LCDA councillor. Is that right?
I can't hear you. I don't know if I'm still.
Okay. Can Ulomo hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. I can hear you. I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm not sure he can hear me because on his bio I can see Koka Aguda, LCDA councillor, and that's like you said, this is looking out for these things that is central on the presidency. I just wanted to ask him some questions regarding his LCDA, but then I don't think you can hear me any longer. Dawisu, if you have your hands raised up, please go ahead.
Mr. Dawisu, go ahead. Mr. Dawisu, go ahead, sir. Mr. Dawisu, you can go ahead.
I think that we really had a Twitter glitch because a lot of speakers could not go ahead. Rockstar, are you there? If Rockstar is there, go ahead. If Rockstar is not there, we go to Ayo, then we go to Governor Dapo, then we go to Shamaka. So if anybody is okay,
Hi.
Shamaka, please go.
Hear me? Yeah, so just to quickly, the Honorable who just spoke, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, can hear you.
Yeah, I mean, so we're having an important conversation, and he just said something I found a little triggering, really. We're having an important conversation, and we also need to pay attention in the way we portray different persons. So he said something about guys being on the streets playing football on election day, and then women being in their boyfriend's house wearing boxers and all of that. Really? I'm sure, Honorable, we can really do better, and such attributions to women, it's a no-brainer. It's below the belt, and we shouldn't bring that here anytime, anywhere. Women can be involved in other activities aside being in their boyfriend's house wearing boxers. I mean, my boyfriend could also be in my house wearing my bra, yeah? So let's do this better. Thank you.
Yeah, can you hear me now, Rinu?
Thank you very much, Maka. I was actually perfect on those thoughts. I mean, but then you said it perfectly. I wish you go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. And like I said, I started from the beginning of this space, that's at 7 p.m., and we are almost now 4 hours on this space. The topic is 2023 elections. And I can tell you that we have not proposed one solution, one idea, and throughout these 4 hours that we've been on this space on what we need to do. At one point, the listeners of this space were over 11,000. Imagine if we had a message for them. Imagine if we have an idea for them that they will take away from this space. The entirety of the discussions that we've been having is talking about the past, talking about our differences, and all that. So I think this is what we need to change. Please, anybody that has a platform, that has a voice, try to coordinate and bring yourselves together. I keep saying this, we cannot keep lamenting and complaining and picking and not providing solutions. And I can give you an example of what we are doing, myself and a couple of others that are like-minded. We just yesterday launched a new movement called We Together movement. And the whole idea of the We Together movement is trying to identify young, competent, and qualified patriotic Nigerians, young generation for 2023 elective positions, whether appointed or elective positions, and irrespective of the political party they belong, whether in APC or in PDP or in ABGA or even in the smaller parties, and we want to form a pressure group so that we can push that these political parties adopt these competent guys, and if they don't, we are going to take that vote and give it to any party that gives it to a young person. This is what we are doing, and we are forming the structure, and we are going national. We are going down to the ward level to coordinate and organize people. And if we have any other platform or any other movement that is that shares the same ideology with us, you don't have to be a member of We Together. But if you share the same ideology with us, let's partner, let's bring ourselves together, work together, and see if we will not take this country, not even as 1 or 2 seats. We always keep focusing on the presidency. The presidency is as powerful as the Nigerian president is, but it's only powerful because the governors make them powerful. So why are we not organizing ourselves to go and take governorship position? We don't have to take everything in 2023. Let's try and take 5 states, for instance, or 6 states, 1 in each of the geopolitical zones. Let's try and have 10 senators, or 12, 2 from each of the geopolitical states, and it's not just about electing them. If we elect these people, we have a blueprint for them that they are going to work with. The technocrats among us can sit down and formulate these blueprints, these ideas that we have. We have a working document, and if we get these people into government, we ensure that they abide by this manifesto that we have put for them, and we ensure that by 2027, we triple that number that we have in government. If we have 5 governors by 2027, let's work towards getting 15 governors. Let's work towards getting 50 senators, and so on and so forth. So if we don't start doing things, coming together and forging ideas that will salvage us.
I think that Tawisu network went off again. However, I find some things that you said intriguing, in the sense that we've been having a conversation and then you don't see the solution in this conversation. I just want to be very diplomatic.